2 to low. Runners go. Did he go? He did. His home plate umpire, Mark Carlson.
It is the return of BRYAN WOO, as we were just informed within the last 24 hours that he is here. Good evening. This is the Rooftop Sports, and alongside me we got the Steve. He says his name is K's for the day. How are you doing today?
No. K's for days.
K's for days.
K's for days. No, I'm good.
K's for days.
I'm really good, man. How are you doing today, man?
Oh, it is a beautiful day. I can't complain. The sun's blasting. It's like 80-something degrees. I had to go get ice cream because of that.
What kind of ice cream did you get?
Cookie sandwich. And I'm already regretting it because I should have had the Slurpee instead. When it's like 80 degrees or above, you go for the Slurpee. When it's below 80. No. Oh, no?
Nope. See, you guys, this is the one thing that I do miss about being in the Pacific Northwest, and especially in the Puget Sound area, because the local stores carry a special ice cream. Okay, in the ice cream section, in the Safeway, QFC, Fred Meyer, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's Lopez Island Creamery, and their strawberry ice cream is literally the best. It's ice cream from heaven. It's manna. It's everything that you want in an ice cream. It is cool. It is soothing. It's creamy. It is the best. And on hot days, you get it like in a pint, and you can crush it in 10 minutes. But those are like it's literally you can have on a hot summer day.
I see. Lopez Island ice cream. Okay, I'll give it a shot.
And they got blackberry ice cream as well, too, which is equally just as devastatingly delicious. Holy crap.
And I'm just looking at the TV. It's Cal Raleigh action figure day. I actually thought of going to this game, but I'm like, no, I'd rather cover a Mariners game on my YouTube channel and not blow money yet. And it looks like we got some people coming in. They're mostly coming into my channel for now. And also donate to Rooftop Sports to get to get more out of it and help support the channel. Where am I today? That's the question. Man. We've got some devastating news today. Matt Brash, our best bullpen pitcher from last season, he is out for the season, out until possibly July of 2025, and that's if everything goes perfect.
Right.
And I would like to say, I think I'm declaring that he may miss even all of 2025, but who knows what's going to happen because he just had Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is, twice they said that there was no structural damage in his elbow, twice. There was 2 MRIs prior. Both MRIs came back with negative, no structural damage. It was just the issue if he wasn't able to recover after throwing. And now all of a sudden he has Tommy John surgery. Now I knew this was ultimately going to end up happening just because this always ends up happening. You know what I mean? Like it always ends in surgery of some sort. And there's, even with modern technology, they say that it usually takes about 10 to 12 months recovery time. And they were saying like best case scenario, June of next year. But yeah, you're probably right. You're looking more towards the All-Star break 2025. And it's too bad too, because the Mariners are in a situation right now where they're in desperate need of bullpen arms. Same thing, and then of course, Santos isn't going to be back till July. This was devastating news, although I don't think it should be that surprising. But that being said, Matt Brash, hopefully you have a speedy recovery and get back.
Yeah, the Mariners, they just got rid of a bullpen pitcher in Tyson Miller, who actually did put up decent numbers, but it's that whenever he gave up those runs, it was literally in the worst possible situation. Like when the Mariners were down 1 and there was like still momentum, he gave up those home runs, or he gave up those runs. I still didn't like the decision. I still wouldn't have done it personally. I think I would have just kept him going, but who knows what they've got in hand. But when it comes to a trade deadline, you would think that a need for a bullpen pitcher would be quite an understatement, because now we don't even know if Gregory Santos is back. And I think, and I kind of feel bad that we're just talking about these injuries, because we got to talk about the fact that BRYAN WOO is actually back in the starting rotation, and he is going to be starting today. And let's take a look at his numbers from last season. BRYAN WOO was 4-5 with a 4.21 ERA, and I would like to say that the majority of that ERA came from those first two, at least those first few starts, especially the Texas game. I remember when I did that game last year, I actually almost fell asleep because it was just so bad, and I cut it early because I had to get to work too. So that was not fun at all. But let's take a look at the BRYAN WOO baseball savant page, and let's take a look at his numbers. BRYAN WOO he tops out at a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He used it 47% of the time. I would hope that he would mix that up, but I don't know. We're not so sure because he just had to recover from an injury. He has a sinker that tops out to 95. That's pretty nasty. Then we got a slider, a sweeper, and a changeup. He only used the changeup 3% of the time. Right. He did do pretty well towards the end of the season. I think he did better than Bryce Miller, but however, he's going to have to mix those up. That 47% has to go down for him to be an effective pitcher for this coming season, or for this season that we're already in.
Right. You know, and okay, well, see, here's the thing, right? Like, a lot of Mariner fans are big on BRYAN WOO. A lot of people like his repertoire, his arsenal of pitches, which is what I like about him the most. He has more than one ways to get you out. But that being said, you know, his problem last year is he left a lot of pitches up, and a lot of pitches got crushed. And it seemed from start to start that was the most consistent part of him. Granted, he had some good starts. I can't deny it. He actually did pitch fairly well. But that being said, you know, what are you expecting from BRYAN WOO? Are you expecting him to be better than Bryce Miller? Are you expecting to do something along those parallels? You know, that is yet to be determined yet. So while he performed admirably last year in a situation where they absolutely need him, it's going to be interesting to see what lessons he learned from last year, from start to start. That's going to be the big key for me. It's, you know, is he mentally prepared for this next step in his major league career? Is he, you know, did he learn how to, you know, be a responsible professional? We're going to find out. And we're going to find out very soon as well, too, because as you mentioned, he is a fastball-centric pitcher. He throws that fastball, what was it, about 47% of the time. So 50% of the time, fastballs. The A's, I don't know if you paid attention, but the A's are scoring runs, and they're also in the top 3 in home runs in Major League Baseball this year. So they can hit it, and they can also, and they're a team that specializes in getting into fastball counts and crushing fastballs. So he's going to have to rely on that sinker early. He's going to have to utilize his slider, and he might have to utilize his changeup as well too. And the question is he able to not only mix his pitches and throw strikes, but can he is he going to be able to reserve those pitches and be able to go deep into games? That's what we have. That's what we haven't seen from him. His ability to consistently go deep into games. Yeah,
which he's not, and he's not going to be able to even get that opportunity today because he is on a pitch count of 80, which was expected because it's his first game back. Don't want to rush things. Which is sad because let's say, prospectively, if he was pitching a perfect game, Scott Service is still gonna pull him out.
Correct.
But I still think that I still have that delusional thinking that if he is somehow pitching at least a shutout or a perfect game or a no-hitter or less than 2 hits, I think he should still keep going for something. But it's not going to happen, and we may not even get that kind of start from BRYAN WOO today anyway. It could be It won't be I don't think it'll be the Texas kind of debut that he had, but I don't expect it to be like his last start against Texas when he was lights out.
The one thing he has to avoid is getting into early holes and counts, and getting into 20 pitch innings, those type of situations. He needs to be in the 12 to 15 per inning type of range, which will extend to the 5th and 6th inning. But I will say this though, the one thing that I didn't like about him was he kind of had that Luis Castillo issue where if he got into trouble early, he had a tendency to let that inning get away from him in a big way. And it's the ability to put things behind you quickly. And if you give up a double, great. Don't let that snowball. You know what I mean? Don't let that get away from you. It's having a short memory and then just returning back to the task at hand, which is the hitter at the plate, and making sure you get the next out. And just don't let an inning get away from you, because these Oakland A's are not last year's Oakland A's or the year before. This is actually a scrappy team that can put runs up on the board really quick.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, Paul, how's it going? And yeah, I couldn't agree more about the BRYAN WOO. And the other concern about BRYAN WOO, and before we get to the start of the pitching, and actually I'll say in just a moment, because we have Abraham Toro up to the plate. First pitch is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek. Use Rooftop Sports promo code for $20 off. Here's the pitch, and that is up high for a ball. Abraham Toro, the former Mariner, he is 293 batting 293 with 3 home runs. He is off to a fantastic start this season. And I had a feeling that Oakland was going to resurrect this guy, because that's what they do. They're good at producing their hitters. The pitch, and that is a strike. His WRC plus is at 134. And if Mariner fans remember Abraham Toro, he was the one that unfortunately was part of that Kendall Graveman trade. And I actually thought he was good. I mean, he wasn't great, but I thought he was at least somewhat clutch. And now here's a fly ball to right field, but that will be caught. And that was Mitch Haniger, and he got it in the sun. Can you check who's on the live chat? What are you talking about, Paul? I'd like to know what you're talking about.
Well, it also was a combination of two different things. The Mariners really didn't use him a lot. And when they did, it's hard to get into a rhythm, but also it could have been that, he's finally getting the playing time and he's also in his prime. So,
yeah. And then it's good to see Abraham Toro actually producing. And now here's BRYAN WOO. And here is going to be the pitch to JJ Bleday. And that is outside for a ball. That is 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Bleday, a 4 home run hitter guy. BRYAN WOO wearing number 22 instead of 33 from last year. Kind of curious about that. We're looking at the 1-0 pitch so far. And here is the pitch. And that is up high for a ball, 2-0.
It could be that 22 is his original number.
Possibly could be.
It just wasn't available last year.
Who's watching my lives? I got 3 people on YouTube for my Twitter and 10 from Swinging Pod. The 2-0. And that is a strike. Going to be a 2-1 count.
This is going to be a tricky broadcast, because I'm on the A's broadcast, and they're at least a full batter behind the Root Sports.
2-1. Well, at least you can't spoil things for me.
Yeah, I like doing that, by the way.
You do like doing it. Don't do that in the World Series if they make it, or don't do that in the playoffs if they make it.
Let's just calm down. Okay, we're still in May. Let's just go ahead and calm the playoff talk down for a
3-1 pitch. And that is in there for a strike, 3-2. I see there's 4 watching, but I don't see who they are. You can't see who they are, Paul, unless they all comment. But for those 3 other people, comment away. We're looking at the 3-2 pitch.
JJ Bleday is a good player.
The 3-2. Oh, and that is inside for ball 4, and take your base. But the concerns that I have about BRYAN WOO is his sustainability, because he does have the health problems, which he did sustain during his college days, which is why he actually fell in the draft. He was actually a highly touted prospect, but the injury concerns was the red flag, and that brought down his draft stocks. So the Mariners got him at a value.
Right. And for me in this start, it's all about consistently throwing strikes and getting after hitters, and not being too cute and too fine around the strike zone. And it's going to be interesting, right? Because if you're on a pitch count that's limited anyways, the last thing you want to do is in a situation where you're just burning pitches for the sake of burning pitches. So that means he's going to have to attack the strike zone. And it's going to be mitigating damage while also, getting ground ball outs, fly ball outs, etc.
And we're looking at a 1-1 count so far. Brent Rooker, one of the sluggers of the Oakland A's. Yep. Just watch him. He will be a free agent runaway for Oakland someday. And that's a 1-2 count. And BRYAN WOO topped out to a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. So the health is there for him. But just note that he will be on a pitch count. Hopefully we can get 7 strong innings out of him, which I don't see happening. Maybe 6, I think, is what I'm thinking is the best case scenario. Right. And now we're looking at the 1-2. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Good to get that out of his systems. That is strike 3, and we got 2 down.
Rooker is such a stud, though. But it's nice to see the first one out of the way.
It really is. Well, at least the second one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. And I'm hoping to go to Oakland sometime in September to watch some Mariners games there. I wonder what the vibe is going to be like. It's going to be pretty eerie, in my opinion. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss.
It's going to be empty. That's what it's going to be.
And eerie. Yeah,
I mean, you're basically looking at a, it's like the old saying, right? Dead man walking. The A's, don't get me wrong, a lot of
pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And this is Seth Brown. He has 2 career seasons of 20+ homers.
Yeah, a lot of trash talk has been thrown at A's fans, but that's the thing. It's not A's fans' fault for not wanting to support John Fisher. I don't blame A's fans one bit.
Not only John Fisher, but Oakland is not exactly a city to hang out on a Friday night either.
Well, it's a rundown stadium that they stopped trying to upkeep, and then they try to strong arm the city. That wasn't going to work, and their plan all along was to move the team. So it is what it is. I agree with you, though. Oakland's probably not the town you want to hang out on a Friday night.
Not at all. Not even Seattle. Depends where you go, though. The 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? He did not.
Dude, partying up on the hill isn't what it was 15 years ago. I wouldn't want to hang out there.
15 years ago?
Yeah, when I was living on the hill in 2004, 5, and 6, it was still the way it was back in the 90s. It was still a cool, chill place to go bar hopping. Not
and
anymore.
Here's a pop fly, and that is fouled.
Yeah, man. Not a place you want to hang out.
Not at all.
I guess the only place in Seattle on a Friday night where you're not going to get mugged, shot, or stabbed is at T-Mobile Park.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Sports stadiums are the safest places to be in a city. 2-2. And now here's another pop fly, and that is fouled.
Seth Brown. Good player.
Really is.
Yeah. The crazy thing about these Oakland A's teams is it's not their lineup that's holding them back. It's a pitching staff that's, it's going to be inconsistent.
2-2. And outside for ball 3. And BRYAN WOO struggling a little bit of his command and control right now.
A little bit. And it looks like, again, he's just a little high in the strike zone when it comes to his fastball. And I wonder if this is just jitters, his first start back.
Gotta be the jitters. 3-2. Ground ball foul. And Seth Brown's really fighting it off.
Yeah.
And the runner was actually going. That was...
Sure. Well, with 3-2 and 2 outs, yeah, the runner's going to take off regardless.
And now we're looking at the 3-2 pitch for BRYAN WOO to Seth Brown. The pitch. And that is fouled again. And the runner was going, and Seth Brown looks shaken up. It did hit off of somewhere in his body.
I still can't get over those City Connect uniforms, man.
They should have done the Black Mariners. Ooh, that was not a good one. That really hurt. No, they should have done the Mariners full black.
No, yes. or full blue. You know what I mean? Like if the
Yeah.
pants were blue too, that would have been pretty. Like
I
if it
don't
was
like
just
Trident. Trident's bad luck.
no. I mean, like the hat is what it is. The trident is what it is. It's just the blue on black. It makes it. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. If it was
Full
one solid
count.
color, I'd be for it.
The 3-2 pitch and fouled again. And ooh, this is just by this inning. BRYAN Woo's pitch count is, I mean, he's already a fourth of the way, or not, maybe basically less than a fourth of a way until he reaches his limit. I mean, 80 pitches is actually pretty generous of Scott Service. Usually it's like 70.
Ooh, yeah.
Now here's a 3-2 pitch and fouled again. How much longer is this going to be the case?
Yeah,
I don't know.
This is a standoff right here. And he's going inside, he's going high, and Seth Brown. But this is what you want to do in a 2-strike count. You're going to shorten your swing, you're going to be defensive, and you're going to swing at anything that's in and around the strike zone. This is a vast difference from what the Mariners show you with 2 strikes. So
now here's a 3-2. And now here's another foul ball again. Seth Brown is really just fighting it off.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he tries to go up in the zone a little bit to see an induced swing. But that being said, he's already tried that a little bit.
And we're looking at a 3-2 for Seth Brown. And let's try this again. And the 3-2 pitch on the way. And that is strike 3 called, and that will retire the side. We go to the bottom of the first. It is no score, and the Mariners coming up, and I definitely need a 20-second breather because of that inning. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code ROOFTOPSPORTS to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. Yep, and use that promo code ROOFTOPSPORTS, and shout out to the fans that actually, the 4 of you today actually used it. I guess you guys were really all about going to that BRYAN WOO game, so thank you for using my code, saving yourselves $20 to watch BRYAN WOO's return. Absolutely, especially if you're going to T-Mobile Park and paying those crazy prices for Mariners tickets. $20 off is really going to come in handy. Don't forget the concessions. Absolutely. And we got Kevin Kirby. How many pitches do you think Woo goes tonight? His pitch limit is going to be 80, from what I heard from Scott Service. Yeah. So probably 5 innings, because he 5 innings is probably accurate. Yeah. Because he had like what, a 25, 26 pitch inning right there, intensified by Seth Brown's never-ending string of foul tips right there. So you would probably think that unless he has like an 8 to 10 pitch inning or a couple of those, I'd probably think about 5 innings would probably be the tops. And we go to the bottom of the first inning. We got Josh Rojas, the only Mariners player on the team that's batting above 300 right now, and he's batting 348. I wonder who is the league leader in batting average right now. Let's take a look. I'm trying to find out. Well, we'll find out in moments. Here's the pitch to Rojas. And that is outside for a ball. This is Paul Blackburn. He has 31 strikeouts and 10 walks. Yeah. And now Josh Rojas has been off to a great start. And we are looking at the 1-0 pitch so far. The pitch. And that is outside for a ball. Rojas is actually not even ranked in the Major League Baseball. But if he was ranked, he would be the 3rd best. He would have the 3rd best average in the league. But he doesn't play enough games to qualify, I guess. But that may change. It's at bats. It's at bats to qualify. But that being said, though, it looks like he's going to be the guy for quite a while. So eventually, that will that will catch up with Rojas. 2-1.
actually be ranked.
And
So,
that is outside for a ball, 3-1. Good eye by Josh Rojas.
yeah.
He's batting 390 as a leadoff hitter, so maybe he may take over for JP Crawford in those duties. Who knows? Because he's been very efficient. 3-1.
It would be
and
smart.
that is in there for a strike.
It would be smart if he continued to be the leadoff guy even when JP comes back.
Yeah, put JP somewhere towards the bottom, and he can provide his value there. Because JP was lost.
Well, yeah.
3-2. And now here's a fly ball to left field, and that's going to go right to the left fielder. It's only a matter of time until he lands in his glove, and we got one down. You were saying.
The question coming in tonight, specifically concerning Paul Blackburn, was the fact that his career high is 9 strikeouts, and the question in Mariner Twitter sphere was whether or not he was going to set a new strikeout record against the Mariners tonight. And 50%, I think 50% of the people that answered that question said yes, that Blackburn will definitely set a new career high. So the expectations aren't very high for the Mariner offense coming into this.
They're not. They never are. And Julio Rodriguez up to the bat, and he takes a strike. Last road trip, he was awful. The pitch.
Yep.
And that is outside for a ball.
I think what one game he had a multi-hit game in Minnesota, but outside of that, it was pretty tough.
He was brutal.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at the 1-1. And here's the pitch. And that is fouled right back.
Yeah. The thing I like about Blackburn is he will go after you. And he will throw strikes. He'll give you an opportunity to hit it too, because he has been touched. So it's just going to be a situation of whether the Mariners can get themselves into fastball counts and take advantage of it.
And we're looking at a 1-2 for Julio to pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. And why is he talking to the umpire? You just swung at a horrible pitch. And Julio, I'm going to have to do this to you, but for your striking out, this is what you get. Can't play nice because
I think I think maybe the argument could be with the called strike on the first pitch that you looked a little outside.
I did see that.
And so maybe he didn't like it. But that being said, you can't argue balls and strikes, not unless you want to stay in the game. So,
and interestingly, Polanco's not playing today.
No, he probably needed a break too.
Probably. He needed that
mental. He needed that mental day off.
Mental. Yep. He needed mental cleansing.
How soft is that, by the way? These guys are professional baseball players that, will play 120 to 162 games a year.
1-1. And that is low for a 2-1. Like, did you speak of soft? Like, did you see the segment from Ryan Divish on the Marine Layer podcast where he said that the job of the batting coaches is to give information? I'm like, no, your job is to hold them accountable. What happened to that?
Well, so no, that job goes to Scott Service. The accountability goes to the manager. And Divish was right. Divish is right. Your hitting coach or your hitting instructor, or your offensive coordinator is just there to give you the information. But that being said, how much information do these players need that they already have? They already know what they're doing wrong, or at least you would hope they know what's going on and what they need to do to correct it. And it's up to the players themselves to go out there and correct it. But when you see the same mistakes game after game,
and all they're gonna it's like as bad as the ownership is, like they're still baseball players. They still have to perform.
Correct.
And we're looking at a 3-2 for Haniger, and here's the pitch, and that is strike 3 called, and I knew it, and he knew it. That is going to retire the side. We are going to go to the top of the second. It is still 0-0. And here's the thing, like Mariners could have put in $1 billion payroll, put in all their all-star teams, and they're still going to have their problems.
I don't know, man, because there's some guys around the league that will hit anywhere, that are always just looking dead red fastball. And know what to do with it. which is the reason why guys like Cano and guys like Nelson Cruz and Kyle Seager and Adrian Beltre and some of these other guys and Ichiro Suzuki were able to
Figured it
consistently.
out.
They were able to. Brett Boone did it. A-Rod did it here. Edgar Martinez did it here. John Allroot did it here. The list goes on and on. I think it's, there is a long track record of guys who know how to hit in this ballpark, and it's and I do believe that really when it gets down to it, I don't think that the philosophy that the Mariners employ really puts our lineup in the best possible situation to succeed.
Does not. And they're talking about Gabe Spires talking about Teslas. Who knows what he's talking about? Is he talking about that he owns a Tesla? Who knows? I'm not even listening to it anyway.
Well, I'll give you a good example. That pitch that Mitch Haniger just struck out on to end the inning. It's still within the strike zone, right? And we saw what Seth Brown did with BRYAN WOO, who was basically, fouling off everything that was even remotely close to the strike zone, right? The ability just to be aggressive, even in a 2-strike count. That is the difference between Oakland and, Oakland's approach to hitting versus Seattle. And it's, how does Mitch Haniger at least not try to put a swing on that pitch?
You should have. And here is Shea Langoliers. He's batting 209 with also 9 home runs. These guys, this Oakland team can hit homers. The pitch, and that is outside for a ball.
Yes, Kevin Kirby. I would like robo umps at the major league level. We're at a point now where the technology is there, and it should be there because some of these umps have.
And here's a ground ball right to the shortstop, Dylan Moore. The throw to first, and it's in time. And we got one down.
Yeah, some of these umps have the worst strike zones I've ever seen. And I go back 30 some odd years in this game, and there are some very good umps that had some very, very, very tight strike zones, which I preferred. And then you have today's umpires that seem to be calling strikes 2 feet into the left-handed batter's box.
Yeah. But what can we do other than waiting until the robo umps? Because they're already doing that in minor league baseball. The pitch.
Yeah, they do.
And that is a strike.
Yeah, I think how they do it down in AAA is they have the 2 games on the weekend series are without robo umps, and then every game in the week is with robo ump.
And the 0-1 and a swing and a miss. That is going to be strike 2.
Yeah, I remember that Houston, Texas game with Angel Hernandez. That was bad.
Angel Hernandez is quite a guy.
CB Buckner's pretty bad. Yeah, Angel Hernandez.
Lou Pinnell would tell you that. And here's a ground ball right to third baseman Urias. The throw to first, and it's in time. We got 2 outs already.
Yeah, and this is, something's going to have to give by the end of May because, last year we saw this team basically go 3 months with the same lineup that wasn't producing. And I don't think the Mariners can afford, not if they want to get to the playoffs, they can't afford to, to continue to trot out the same cast of characters that are underperforming. And I would probably assume that
we talked about that Ty France may not even last.
Yeah. You're going to have to do something.
They're definitely going to have to.
And we're already seeing trades around Major League Baseball this early, so it's not like there's any excuse for
0-1. And that is up high for a ball. I mean, the excuse is the no ownership. Ownership's not going to support any kind of move.
Well, no, they will. I mean, if they're within budget, you know what I mean? They're not going to take
a very minuscule budget.
Well, what I'm saying though is, if they're not taking on $30 million of payroll, not like they're not making like a Juan Soto type of deal, although that would be pretty freaking sweet.
I mean, the Mariners would have had to give up a haul for Juan Soto, though. They for sure, I think Cole Young would have been in that category, would have been in that conversation.
Yeah, but to even for
2-2,
even for one season of Juan Soto, it would have been worth it. To put Juan Soto and Julio Rodriguez in the same lineup, batting 2-3, that changes everything.
Yeah.
For real. Having
And now we're
Julio
looking at the
too.
2-2. The pitch. Now here's a fly ball to deep center field, and Julio is there. He makes the catch, and that's going to retire the side. That is a 1-2-3 inning for BRYAN WOO. He settled down on this one. We go to bottom of the second. It is still no score.
Modern Exterior Solutions is a fully licensed and insured full-service exterior renovations company serving Seattle and East Side communities. We know that a home is one of your most important possessions. That's why we're committed to providing high-quality, affordable home renovations for each customer's individual budget. We're diverse enough to meet the challenges of any project you put in front of us. Our workmanship minimizes the use of third-party services, and our team works together to meet all your deadlines. Anytime there's a challenge, we work with you to find a solution. We are proud to work with distributors of quality brand products with durable, ample protection from the elements for a variety of applications, including James Hardie siding and trim. Talk with us today about your project's needs, and we can help you solve all the challenges along the way.
And if you would like those kind of improvements, use the Modern Rooftop promo code and call that number as well for your 20% off QR code to the website. And let's answer some questions we've got. I love the fact that Scorecard on Twitter does as much as they hold them accountable. Nah,
they don't.
DK, I'm expecting Jerry to flip some bullpen arms to make room for... Whew. Brash is gone though, in case you haven't noticed. He's on a Tommy John, and I'm pretty much in the conclusion that I think Santos is not going to be back for this season, just the way everything's going on.
Yeah. Well, I will say that he's expected back in July, and I would probably assume by that point in time all they would do is move somebody down to Tacoma to make room for him. But that being said, something's going to have to give between now and then, because, right now, outside of 3 arms in the back end of your bullpen, if you use them all in one game, you're basically left with what's the rest, the Cody Boltons of the world, which is not a good proposition to be in. So they definitely need to get another arm in that bullpen.
They have to get at least one. It's actually a good one, not just an arm, not like getting just Matt Thornton, like Trent Thornton, but actually getting an arm.
Right, but that's what they do though, right? They'll pick somebody up off the scrap heap. Last year it was Trent Thornton after he got DFA'd, and they brought back what's his bucket, former Mariner, in September last year after
Dominic Leone, and that was a horrible move.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
that's swing and a miss, strike 3, and Blackburn's looking like a superstar right now. I forgot to add him on my fantasy team, but I'm going to add whoever tomorrow is.
But that's what the Mariners do. I mean, that's what they do as far as bullpen arms. They bring him in and they utilize his one good pitch. But if you're looking to add a bat, like a legit bat to really kind of get things going, you have to make some tough decisions about prospects.
They're gonna have to be, and I'd be willing. Let's package Ty Pete if he's good enough. Somehow, let's package him. Even Colt Emerson, I am willing to, because we already have Cole Young and we have Felnine Celestine right now.
Yeah. I mean, I would think
a strike.
I would think about Harry Ford, Johnny Formello, and some really intriguing prospects. But you're also going to have to give up somebody probably after 25 or your 26-man roster.
As long as they'll get rid of Lazaro Montez, I'm okay.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that you kind of have to keep. And Montez is going to be one of those dudes where you don't give up on that guy right now.
Do not give up on him.
Yeah, because that's the equivalent of getting rid of Yordan Alvarez.
As what they're saying is, what they're saying about he is possibly the next Yordan, and that would be one heck of a rivalry to have, is Yordan versus Lazaro. The 2-2. And now here's a fly ball to not so deep center field. Oh, but it's just the marine layer. It's the marine layer's fault.
Yeah, it's the marine layer, man. How do the Astros have the same odds to win the World Series and they're 10 games under 500? Because the Astros have been to 7 straight league championship series. and are consistently there at the end of the season because they know how to win. That's why. And you can never count them out until they're mathematically eliminated. That's how Kevin.
Exactly.
You
Now
just
we're
vote
looking at Luke Raley, and that is up high for a ball.
Yeah, you don't count out winners, man.
Dropping Ty France on my fantasy team. But I added tomorrow's starter, Alex Wood, so I'll probably get a boost tomorrow.
And by the way, watch Ty France go yard in this game tonight at some point.
Nah.
Just for that stunt, he's going to go yard.
Nah.
Nah.
I still technically have him. It's for tomorrow's game, but nah.
Just imagine how
1-1.
good, guys. Imagine how good Julio and
that
Cal.
hit him. Luke Raley's going to first base.
Well, there you go, first base runner. How good these guys would be if they actually had a legit slugger in the middle of their lineup to build around.
I know.
Make a trade with the Toronto Blue Jays and get Vlad Jr. over here.
Nah, I don't think John Stanton even knows who that is. The pitch to Ty France. And here's a ground ball, double play ball. Or that doesn't even matter. No, it's not a double play ball. It's 2 outs. But Ty France just hit that nice little laser to third base. And then...
Yeah. Seriously, right? Because the difference between a guy like Pete Alonso and Vlad Jr. is the fact that Vlad actually hits the baseball when he's not hitting home runs.
Yeah, Pete Alonso is a tank. I mean, look at Vlad
Jr. gets on base.
But Toronto's not going to give him up.
Well, not for nothing.
Toronto's 17-20. They're still going to try to at least compete.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I mean, I would love Vlad Guerrero Jr. Like, who wouldn't? I mean, the guy almost hit 50 bombs before.
Right.
I mean, look at him. I mean, Blue Jays, that's the thing about the Blue Jays. They're such a disappointing team. Like, they really should be one of the forces of the AL East. Look at the bats they have, but it looks like their pitching is meh.
Yeah. But they have enough. It's just, their window was on the same trajectory as ours. And actually 2022 was the year for Toronto. We just happened to beat them in the wild card.
Yeah, that was supposed to be their year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they messed up. And for Ty France, Kevin Kirby saying we need more power out of Ty France, 2 home runs for a first baseman. That's not the problem. The problem is he has been going for home runs too much. Like he has good exit velos, but they're just going into the wrong places. Like when Ty France wasn't trying to hit home runs in 21 and 22, that's when he was a naturally good player, getting extra base hits, RBIs. He was very efficient. Yeah,
he's the guy, his value was using the entire field and just spraying it everywhere. Singles and doubles was his game. And yeah, he would hit the occasional home run. And, he was the kind of guy that would hit 15 long balls, but he would have 80, 85 RBI.
Like, look at Scott Hatterberg. He was a first baseman. He wasn't known to hit 30 home runs. He hit maybe 15, but he got on base very efficiently and a very clutch player.
Yeah, but first base was the moon to Hatterberg. Didn't you see Moneyball?
Oh, wait, what's Moneyball? Oh, wait, Moneyball. What's Moneyball? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No, I really don't know. Is it
Why
this?
do you like him?
Because he gets on base.
That's the thing. Ty France just decided last year for whatever reason he wanted to be that guy at first base. He wanted to be the 30 home run guy, and he sold out for power. And you can understand why. You can understand why, because now he's getting into his arbitration years and he wants to get paid. And last year it didn't work, and so he goes to Driveline to develop some pull side power. And get a little tighter in the zone, and it just has not worked out for him. And now you're looking at a dude who's completely lost at the plate right now.
He is lost, and as we just got a strikeout, and for Scott Hatterberg, let's talk about how difficult playing first base was. It's incredibly hard.
It's incredibly hard. Yeah, maybe we can get one of the fans to play.
Tell him, Wash. It's incredibly hard.
Incredibly hard. That was probably the best scene of the movie, by the way. Do you think
my friend's favorite scene was the vending machine when David Justice was like, "What, $1 for a soda?" Yep, welcome to Oakland, man.
That's funny. He likes to keep the money on the field. Soda money? Do I think Julio has lost a step this year? He seems a little bit slower. Yeah,
he just keeps doing what he's doing. It's just he just keeps.
No, I mean, listen. This has happened now for the third straight year where he's gotten off to slow starts. The thing, what's boggling me is the fact that when Julio does get on base, they're not having him steal, which is a weird thing because he actually has the 40 stolen base speed. That's what's perplexing with me is the fact that they're not putting Julio in motion, at least trying to be aggressive. But come mid-June, Julio is going to start hitting like Julio.
And then he's going to get on every single front page of everything. He's like, oh, yeah, Julio is a top 5 baseball player. Like, we know this cycle.
Yeah. And maybe it's just the case that he's just a second half guy, throughout history.
He really is. No, he's a second half guy until the very, very end. Then the very end, he just disappears.
Throughout history, there's been a lot of guys who were second half guys. I mean, I can make the case that Junior was a second half guy. Junior was Junior was an everyday guy, but I'll just say that
he hated August. August was his worst month.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying
he was chasing for 62 every time, and every chance he got, August killed his chances every time. And here's Abraham Toro. We're looking at an 0-1 count so far.
Some seasons, yes, but
pitch.
He was an April guy for sure. He was an April guy for sure. But then come July. Come June, July, and then September,
it slows down.
No, Junior was the best. I'll say this for Julio. Right now, the problem with Julio, he's just not hitting the fastball right now.
0-2, and that's low. And Abraham Toro, by the way, is up to the plate, and I do miss the guy. I still think he was given up on too easily.
Yeah, for sure. And just the way that service used him, which was like once a week. You're
and far more talent than that.
Yeah. And the thing about a guy like Toro, he needs to play.
Like 20 should have been a good sample size that he should have been a full-time guy.
Yeah. I mean, and what's even incredible is the fact that every single year we've had issues at second base. And they could easily give
the whole Frazier thing didn't help either because that took up space.
Yeah, I mean the thing about it is before bringing in a guy like Adam Frazier or trading for a guy like Frazier, you want to give a dude like Toro some run at second base, and if he doesn't get the job, you can always go get Adam Frazier at the deadline. It's a
lot of things could have been done, should have, could have, would have, but at least for 23, if you after you letting go of Frazier, they should have just left Toro as their second base because they couldn't have done worse than Colton Wong.
Well, true, but I mean,
3-2. Now here's a line drive, and that is going to drop for a base hit, and Abraham Toro gets on first base, and that's going to be the first hit for Oakland. And it took until the third inning at least.
And the other thing you have to consider is with Polanco. What if Polanco doesn't start hitting? That should be a concern. Yeah, I mean,
I was excited to get Polanco, but I'm like, is he going to work out? Is it going to work? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. And so far it hasn't, but you can also say the same thing for
home runs. He hits occasional home runs, but that's it.
That's about it. And he
walks
the only. He does walk some.
He does, but he still strikes out, and he checks swings too much. But everyone in the Mariners checks swings.
Who, in your opinions, have been the most disappointing? Probably Mitch Garver.
Definitely Mitch Garver. 1-1.
Although Garver over his last 5 or 6 games has actually started to perform a little bit. I don't know if you've been paying attention to that. When you look at his numbers, over the last 6 games, it feels like he's starting to pull out of it. But Polanco and Garver for sure.
The 1-1. if all these guys that we got from last year at least did like a tenth of what, well, not a tenth of what they did, but if they basically matched those numbers from last year, this team is like at least 5 games ahead of the division easily.
And I think that eventually will happen as we get into the later stages of May and into June.
And now it looks like we got a play at second base, throw to first, and it's in time. And another easy inning for BRYAN WOO. Aside from that first inning with the jitters, he is just pitching fantastic. He really wants to go at least 6 innings. That's what we want. I think 6 or 7. 7, I'll be like happy. 6 will be like, okay, fine. 5, you'll be like, come on, man.
Yeah, no, they got a hard line with him in this start, specifically this start. So he's definitely not going 7. But
unless his pitch count reaches there, which is very unlikely.
Correct. Yeah, that. It's just
he's at 56, so he has 24 pitches left. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yep, he only has 24 pitches left, so he doesn't really have much room. And which inning are we at? I think we're just bottom of the 3rd.
Yeah,
he'll be 6 innings would be a wild success.
Right, 6 innings would be a stretch, but it would probably be most likely 5, which means you're using your bullpen. See, that's what I don't like is the fact that Service is doing it to himself. By
that's why he lost Brash. Yeah. Like maybe I want to make a video like the real reason Matt Brash got hurt because he got overused. He kept yanking his starters and he uses him way too much. Like there should be a case that load managing your starters come at the cost of the bullpen.
Yeah, for sure. And he also used Brash a few times for multi-inning relief appearances last year as well too. I mean, that dude had 70 in the 3rd innings last year.
But was that first inning like he swept it through within like 10 pitches and then he just happened to get a second inning? Because I was a proponent of that. Usually I'm a proponent where if they have less than 10 pitches in their first inning and they get the number 2, I'm actually okay with that. Encourage that.
No, I'm actually okay with it as well too. Especially with a guy like Brash who can get both righties and lefties out, and there's no need to worry about that.
Or did he have like a 15 pitch inning and he kind of struggled and barely got out of it, and Service like, okay, yeah, you get another inning. That's probably
it's also about who's available and who's not available. Right. So
now here's a fly ball to center field, right to the center fielder. And we got an out. And must I remind all of you, Blackburn is pitching a no-hitter.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
And we're now in the bottom of the 3rd, and the Mariners have yet to get their first base hit, which
they've yet to even get on runners in scoring position. And don't forget, granted that this is not an Oakland team that's 2023, not even close. It's like almost the opposite.
Right. Where the Mariners feasted on the A's and essentially just ran them ragged last year. And this is the perplexing thing is they know Paul Blackburn. They faced him quite a bit.
They used to feast on him. The pitch. And that is a strike. And Urias is already down in an 0-2 count. He has hit safely in 4 of his last 5 games. And Urias has very strange numbers. He's terrible batting average, terrible OBP, but his slugging percentage and OPS actually kind of makes up for it. 0-2. Because he does, when he gets the hit, it is an extra base.
Right.
WRC plus is slightly above 100. So he is considered a slightly above average player. 1-2, good eye, and that is going to be a 2-2 count. I think if that was Julio, he would have swung at that. They're talking about Everett. Vancouver is at 4-3. I am curious though why any of those players in Modesto haven't been called up. It must be like a typical cycle where they don't it's more of a procedural thing. The pitch. Now here's a ground ball. You better run your butt off. And there's going to be no play, and that's an infield single for Luis Urias, and the no-hitter is over.
Now, I think what it is, it's just a timing issue when it comes to promotions, right? You don't want to promote a guy too early. You definitely don't want to promote him a little too late, right? So, like in the case of Lazaro Montez, it's obvious that he's too good for the California League.
Oh yeah, right? He is destroying the league, and And
So you'll probably see it at the end of May.
I'm going to a game. I'm going to his first game. I'm going to do everything in my power to go to that game.
That's funny. In Lazaro, you trust.
I'm a diehard Lazaro. I'm a diehard Lazaro fan, Lazaro, and a Felnine Celestine fan.
Right. You know what? I'll say this: if Lazaro, that's his name. I thought it was Lazaro. Okay, Lazaro. If Lazaro makes it to the big leagues, I actually might go for that. His first home game.
No, let's go to one together. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a foul ball. That's strike 2 for Josh Rojas.
His
Celestine, he's also in the ACL league. He got to skip the DSL. So that means if he plays his card right, we could see him in Modesto.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. For him, it's going to be staying healthy, number one, but also you're going to have to hit. I hate to say it. I mean, defensively, he's a very good defender. We're not playing back in the 1980s anymore.
I wonder how we access those games. I think you literally have to fly to Dominican Republic to actually watch their games.
Yeah, the DSL, yeah, for sure.
They don't televise anything. Sad.
That would be pretty sweet, though.
It would. I'd pay money for it.
Well, I wonder if you
one
could...
too. And now here's a line drive. Not a line drive. It's a out. No, my idea was I wonder if I could. Do I buy tickets to the game? Is it free? I don't know.
What you could do is you could find out the team name of who he's playing on, and then you could see if they have it. Let's see if they broadcast via their website. Just a thought.
I wonder. Well, it's going to be called the ACL Mariners. Oh, why did I say Dominican Republic? I meant Arizona, which I would not mind going. And here's the pitch, and that is outside for a ball. And in his first 4 games, here is his numbers, Celestine. 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, 4 walks, 1 strikeout, 556 OBP. Now, granted, this is ACL, but still, that's still good.
That's got to be a boring. That's got to be a boring league to watch, like on TV, because I mean, you're talking about 18-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like 16 through 18. So essentially, you're watching high school baseball.
Yeah, and we're looking at the 1-1 for Julio, who just swung a miserable one. The pitch, and that is outside for a ball. But yeah, I wonder how to watch them. I wonder if you can go to their games. I don't know. I can't even find them on a website or anything. Well, I'll find out. We're looking at a 2-1 for Julio Rodriguez. And the 2-1. And that is fouled again, 2-2. No, but I think if he keeps those numbers up, he should be going to Modesto, maybe even sooner. But I still think September is the most realistic because that's usually the practice.
And I think Modesto is the low A short season now. So
Modesto is just standard A because low A is gone.
Yeah, okay.
2-2.
So standard A. And I wonder how many games they play there, because I wonder if it's a short season standard A, because I know Everett's now high A.
Yeah. I like Everett being high A. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, the Northwest League.
Because
been around
it used
forever.
to be A-.
My favorite independent team ever used to play
The
in the
pitch.
Northwest League.
And here's a ground ball and the throw to first. And Julio, you would think he should have beat that through.
Yeah. Julio. Well,
I looked at the games. There's no access to it.
The one thing I will say about Julio is at least he's not chasing slider low and away like he used to.
Oh, he did that like a mofo.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's nothing going on right now.
The fastball that he fouled off to go to 2-2, that was his pitch right there. And it's recognizing fastball and getting extension on it. And right now he's just fouling him off.
Oh, here it is. Arizona Complex League, operated by Major League Baseball, is a rookie level circuit that has operated in Arizona since 1988. Most of their games are played at the Major League spring training complexes. Big surprise. Games are open to the public with free admissions.
Ooh.
Okay, now that gives me ideas. Now,
you're gonna go down there?
It's a thought, but the crapshoot is like, is he actually gonna play? Because if I fly all the way there and he doesn't play, it's like, well, crap.
Yeah, but I mean, you can cheer on your Peoria Javelinas. I think that's what they're called, the Javelinas.
I'll cheer on. Other ideas I had was going to Dominican Republic, enjoy a nice time at the beach, and then go to a baseball game. Sounds like a great trip. I've been to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was amazing. San Juan, gotta go there. Now everything else, meh. Always the tourist spots.
Yeah.
And BRYAN WOO, it was that Seth Brown. They're talking about Seth Brown because I think he's up next. And Seth Brown really did not help BRYAN WOO's pitch count at all. It was 13 pitches that really inflated it. And now he is up to the plate. That's actually Brent Rooker, my bad. The pitch. Now here's a ground ball, and Dylan Moore's got it. The throw to first in time and greatly fielded.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what's funny is Fielding
Celestine.
Felnine Celestine, he's got a 1.127 OPS.
Insanity.
Mm-hmm.
He's someone to watch. I really do think he has the most upside out of all of our shortstop prospects.
Could be.
Like the moment I heard his name, I was like, after that Luis Castillo trade, I was like, okay, carry on. Bye-bye, Marte. Don't need you. Now here's a fly ball to left field, and that's going to be Luke Raley's there. He makes the catch, and 2 down already. But 21 pitches left for BRYAN WOO. Depending on situation, like let's say if BRYAN WOO's pitching a shutout, and even with the understanding of the pitch count, I'm still going to play the Austin Powers no the moment it happens.
Yeah.
And also, Mother's Day is on Sunday. For everyone that has plans for their mothers, make sure you make those plans. Do what you can. Here's Shea Langoliers. The pitch. Here's a ground ball right to Urias. The throw to first, and it's in time. And that is another 1-2-3 by BRYAN WOO.
Good.
We go to the, I believe it's the bottom of the 4th. It is still no score. That never gets old.
By the way, for all you Mariner minor league nuts out there, the ACL Brewers are beating the ACL Mariners 3-1, and Felnine Celestine is, 1 for 2 tonight with a walk and a double. So there you go.
Here's my prediction. The moment Emerson is promoted, and Ty Pete probably, maybe they bump. Unless I wonder if they have to actually finish the entire ACL season, though. I wonder if they have to actually finish the whole thing, because that's where it literally starts. Hey, Christian, how's it going? I wonder if they have to finish the whole thing, because if they just call them up too early, then who else is on the depth? That's like literally one of their bottoms. Oh, they just call up someone from DSL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Currently, right now in the top of the 6th, Reno is beating Tacoma 6-3. Jonathan Clase is 2 for 3 today with an RBI. He actually went deep in this one. Ryan Bliss.
I think he's the Taylor. I think he might be the Taylor Trammell of the future. Jonathan Clase might be the Taylor Trammell of the future.
And Ryan Bliss has a double. In the top of the 10th inning right now, Arkansas and Wichita are tied at 2. And Harry Ford today was 0 for 3. Locklear was 1 for 4, and he hit a triple today. Go figure. Alberto Rodriguez is 2 for 4. So there's that. So let's go Arkansas. And of course, you already said that Vancouver beat Everett.
Vancouver beat Everett. Except Everett's boring to watch because there's nobody except like Ben Williamson, but that's about it. Here's Mitch Haniger, and that is outside for a ball.
And in the top of the third, Modesto and Fresno are tied at 1, and Lazaro Montez is 0 for 0, but he's 0 for 0, but he has scored a run. He scored the only.
He must have got a walk somewhere, and that's what. And Montez came a long way because when he was in the DSL or the ACL, he was striking out like a mofo. Like his strikeout count was really bad. It was like Teoscar numbers on steroids. The pitch. Like he made Teoscar Hernandez look like a getting on base guy.
What's up, Christian?
We're looking at Mitch Haniger, who has a 2-1 so far, 2-1 count. He's working a good count. And here is the 2-1. And that is up high for a ball.
Oh yes, the salmon races. That's so funny that the Mariners do that with the dorks dressed up as salmon as they did the in between this last inning. Yeah.
What? That was up high, umpire.
Not really,
bro. That ain't good. Cal Raleigh's on deck. Blackburn with 49 pitches so far. The 3-2. And that is ball 4. Take your base. And
there you go.
It's a walk. And the Moneyball players are playing. I got to do this.
Why do you like him?
Because he gets on base.
You know, I was actually going to mention the fact that, you know, they haven't really made Blackburn work at all today.
They really haven't.
So that was nice to see, you know, the leadoff walk right there.
Here's Cal Raleigh, the big dumper. And that is outside for a ball. Cal Raleigh has 9 home runs this season. He is the leader in home runs. He basically lives and dies by the home runs, unfortunately.
For sure.
Don't get me wrong. He's a great player. He should be the catcher of the future. I think the Mariners should lock him up. The 1-0.
Sure.
But one problem, he's a Boris client.
Yeah. The other thing he should consider is getting rid of that dumb nickname.
The dumper?
Yeah, I don't like that.
I like it.
I'm not a fan of it.
I think ironically, Jared Kelenic gave him that name.
Yeah, right, because he has a ridiculously huge ass. So
they call him the dumper.
And they call him the dumper.
The 2-0.
You know, that's usually a nickname guys will say to each other when referring to the female counterparts. Dumper. She's got a huge dumper. So
looking at a 3-0 road trip. Cal Raleigh was spectacular.
Yeah.
And here's the 3-0. And that is ball 4. Take your base. Now we got a runner in scoring position.
Why do you like him?
Because he gets on base.
You know, that's something I do have some considering of the future is once in a while I'll go to these minor league ball games, especially the ACL and maybe DSL, maybe do content on it when things get better.
Yeah. Well,
I have the luxury to like travel.
I will say that now that the Mariners got their first 2 on, it's imperative that they walk away with at least 1 in this inning.
Yeah, absolutely.
You cannot.
And that is a strike.
This is probably going to be the only inning in which you're going to be able to get something going, and you might as well make it count.
Make something happen.
Yeah, and that it's imperative that you're not swinging for the fences. You're just
slap something.
You're trying to make good contact right now.
That's all they got to do. They don't have to do anything too fancy.
Correct.
Mitch Garver. Imagine if Mitch Garver had only just 2 home runs rather than 4. Or rather, yeah. This season with runners in scoring position, though, 3 for 22. Yikes.
Solid.
Very solid. The 1-1. Foul ball. And good thing that was a foul ball because that would have been an easy double play right there. Right. And on deck is going to be Luke Raley. That buys us time from Ty France, Mr. Double Play Specialist.
But I would like to see. I'd like to see Garver do something here with 2 strikes. That would be.
Would like to as well, yeah.
That would be
And
that would be fantastic.
the 1-2 pitch, ground ball, foul again.
And they cannot afford to not cash in right here, especially against a guy like Paul Blackburn, who apparently is on his A game tonight. So maybe runs might be into premium, and if that's the case,
And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Down goes Mitch Garver.
And the funny thing is, they just showed on the broadcast the batting average against for Blackburn. The first time through the lineup, second time through the lineup, third time through the lineup, and this is usually where he gets hit. Second time through the lineup, opponents are batting 238 against him, but this is where he usually gives up his runs right here in these innings right now.
Unfortunately, the pitch, and that is a ball, a swing and a miss. Why did I say ball? Swing and a miss. And also on my attendance rate, must I say, I'm at 53%, 22 shows so far this season.
Wow.
0-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
That's pathetic.
Very pathetic.
2 on, nobody out.
And you're almost going to strike out. And now
you get
here's
Garver,
the pitch. And that is outside for a ball.
And you get Garver to swing and miss.
And then you got Ty France after that, which don't count on anything out of him. I mean, if I were Luke Raley, why don't you just bunt on this one? At least he can run.
Yeah,
1-2. But Scott Service doesn't bunt. He plays too much Oakland A's baseball style. Oakland A's is known for the big hits, getting on base, no stealing, no bunts.
Right. And but that isn't just that's obviously old school Moneyball, but in this day and age of Major League Baseball, you don't see bunting.
Here is a fly ball line drive, and that is going to drop in for a base hit that was off the wall. A runner is going to score, and we've got the Mariners taking the lead.
There you go.
1-0 Mariners lead.
There you go. And that is what we like to call taking advantage of the situation when you got runners in scoring position.
That actually almost left the field for a home run. It just hit off the wall.
That's nice.
And that did look good. That was a nice exit velo of 106. Even though I think exit velo is kind of like meh numbers to even look at. But still,
I think it's a bullshit stat. But that being said, though, it was nice seeing Raley square something up and driving it.
And the best part of this, Ty France, for the most part, can't hit a double play unless something stupid has to really happen.
And the thing about Raley is the fact that he hasn't really been used a lot lately. He has, and it's nice to see.
Oh, Ty France had a nice hit on there, but it went foul.
It's nice seeing Raley be productive.
What happened to the ball girls? The ball girls don't play anymore.
Did you have a thing with the ball girl? Is that the?
I could have.
Okay. What stopped you?
1-1. I don't know. No, I'm saying that they don't use ball girls anymore.
Oh, okay.
Now it's ball boys. I miss the good old days. We had the ball girls on the corners, and we had little Darren Baker picking up a baseball bat. And we're looking at the 2-1 for Ty France. And here is the pitch. And now here's a line drive, and that is going to be a base hit. 2 runs are going to score on that, and the Mariners now lead it 3-0. And I'm pretty sure Ty France got in for a double.
There you go, Ty. And you took him out of your fantasy team. What did I tell you?
It's the reverse jinx psychology.
Yeah, what did I tell you?
Well, I mean, I dropped him, but that was for tomorrow's game.
Okay.
So I still got his productions today, but it doesn't matter because my team is just getting absolutely just spanked this week.
Slaughtered. That's this is exactly what you want to see from Ty France. This is his bread and butter, doubles and singles. The ability to make solid contact and put the ball in play. And now all of a sudden the fruit of that labor manifested himself into a two-run double. So good for Ty.
Sleepy didn't get to this, but Class A is Taylor Trammell. I mean, someone who does well in the minor leagues and then doesn't do anything in the majors. That's what you call a Taylor Trammell.
Yeah, quad A player. Yeah, somebody who's too good for AAA, but not good enough for the major league level.
It's the worst spot to be.
It really is. But that being said, though, I think the book is out on Class A. He got a cup of coffee. At the bigs, and he wasn't able to do much. But
and now here's a fly ball to deep left field, and that is gone. That is a home run for Dylan Moore. And now the Mariners are taking a 5-0 lead.
Bing bang boom, bing bang boom. There it is.
Big shot by Dylan Moore.
And as I was saying earlier, these are the innings in which you can get to Paul Blackburn. And sure enough, you get the first 2-1 with walks. You get the double by Rayleigh. You get the double by France, and now you get the two-run bomb. And this is what this lineup can do when they're not just sitting on the home run. When you actually manufacture runs, this is what this lineup is capable of doing. Putting yourself into a nice little 5-run cushion where it wasn't simply just the home run.
And we got a pop up to right in the foul territory, and that's going to be an out. But man, 5 runs, and that's exactly what we needed to see. Like Ty France, that's the Ty France we want. That was like a glimpse of a 21-22 Ty France. Don't have to hit home runs. The ones where he hits it in the corners, that's where he's most deadly, and that's what he does.
Yeah, I mean, you get a couple 2-run, you get a couple doubles that score runs, and then you take what I like the fact is they took advantage of the walks. The first 2 batters of the inning get on, and the Mariners take advantage. You get the double by Rayleigh, you get the double by France, and then all of a sudden the momentum has shifted so much to Seattle's side. Then all of a sudden Demo gets the fastball, and
now here's a line drive, and that is going to drop for a base hit. And Josh Rojas is trying to continue this momentum.
Yeah, and now it's looking like it's going to be the big inning.
We hope so. And let's keep it going so BRYAN WOO doesn't have to feel as pressured to completely throw his arm out.
Yeah, and the question is the question for me is going to be Julio at this stage. What's Julio going to be able to do?
Who knows? Not based on being a good locker room guy, but based off stats, who would you rather have, Bo Bichette or JP Crawford? Ooh.
Bo Bichette. 10 times out of 10, I'd take Bo Bichette.
True that.
That dude's a killer.
Yeah, what kind of stats are you talking about, Kevin Kirby?
Yeah, I mean, JP had his career year last year. That's great, but
he's very streaky. We're looking at the 0-1, and here's the pitch. And now here's a throw to second, and not in time. Good heads-up stealing by Josh Rojas. I mean, I was saying it, like, there's a reason why the Mariners have so many of these prospects. I really do think, I hate to say it, I love JP. Great personality, great person. He's passionate. But unfortunately, compared to what we have, he's unfortunately expendable. I really do think he is. I hate to say it. And sure. Rojas is 4 or 5 on stolen bases. And now here's the 1-1 to Julio. Why did you swing that, Julio? That was hitting the dirt, and you very much knew that it was hitting the dirt. Come on, man. Don't do that to me. Good job, Julio. Now he's down to a 1-2 count. And now we're looking at the 1-2. And here is the pitch by Blackburn. And he does it again. Strike 3. And I hate Julio. I'm going to keep doing it until you fix it. This is for you. That's what you get, and you kind of deserve it because just the way you struck out was really bad. He was just reaching out, just swinging bad breaking pitches that were hitting dirts, and he swung at that slider that you were talking about that we thought he was avoiding.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you're behind in the count, you're gonna swing at those pitches. It's a shame too, because this is the guy that has to get going.
Yeah, because he was really talking a big game. Because we saw him in that press conference in spring training. He was like all high and happy. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna kick everyone's butts. I'm gonna get that MVP." Like he didn't exactly say that, but the way he presented himself made him seem like that he was all cocky.
Yeah, he was talking about getting off to a good start and being that guy, and
he's not shown it. Like,
yeah, well, it's not his month yet, so that's going to be coming up.
When it's all said and done, he's probably going to be a number 2 guy more than number 1, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. But most importantly, the Mariners took advantage of that inning and put up a 5 spot. And this is if you're a Mariners fan, this is what you want to see. The Mariners manufacturing runs. They also are, they got the long ball as well too. That was gravy right there, because the one thing that we didn't see, especially in Minnesota, and what we haven't seen throughout the course of the season, is the Mariners just having those type of innings where they're just manufacturing runs. What we've seen is the long ball, and it's nice to see the adage of taking advantage of a couple walks and a couple doubles. That was beautiful, man.
And we are back from the break, and BRYAN WOO is up to the pitch. He is already pitching on a strike. He has 63 pitches, so he's got 18 pitches left. Let's hope he can at least... I'd like to see him go one more inning after this, but I don't think it'll happen. The pitch. Here's a fly ball popped up, and I hope someone catches that. Please catch that. Urias is there, and he makes the catch.
Boom.
But I think if he stays below 10 somehow, he's going to get one more inning. But I would think that the bullpen is warming up by now because of the pitch count protocols that they're doing.
Well, the key to getting the next inning is pitching to contact, right? Using a sinker at the low zone and trying to induce contact at the low part of the zone, and see if you can get a couple guys to top a couple and ground out to third base or shortstop, and he'll get out of the inning pretty quick.
Yep, and that is Pete Woodworth. No, Scott, no, do not pull him out. No, sit your ass down. Get the hell out. No, go. I don't think he's pulling him out, but when I see him, I'm like, no, get out of here. I wonder what they're talking about. Pete's out there. Now Scott's out there. Scott's telling him that he doesn't want to take any chances. Huh? Oh, he's getting the booze all right.
Yeah, no. You know what they're doing? They're talking about what to get Ty and his wife for their wedding. Yeah.
There's booze going on, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But we already knew this was going to happen. And what the crazy thing about it?
Hold on, but hold that thought. I got to do this. No, I'm against this decision. They're saying, "Oh, I'm with you." No, I am violently against this decision. I'll show you how much I'm against it. I don't like the decision. And I wonder what was going on. I got to read the Twitter feed.
Well, you're wondering, because he's only at 62 pitches, and you're wondering if maybe Woo hurt himself.
That's possible. And the fans are still booing. Cal Brawley said he must have saw something.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Because he's only at 62 pitches, and Thornton's up in the bullpen. And it looks like Spire's up as well too. So I would probably assume you're going to see Thornton here. Yeah, and they're going to pull him. Makes sense because there's the trainer. The trainer's out there too. So something happened with Woo. Maybe it's a blister.
If you have foot pain, it's not normal, and you need
Yeah, it looks like Twitter people. I mean, of course, the fans are not gonna. They're gonna boo because they have no idea what's really going on because they're not gonna be on their phones hooked on. You would think, but I'm looking at everything. Trident says, "Is Woo okay?" It looks
Yeah,
like something must be wrong with Woo.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's he's when he's coming off the field, he's there with the trainer. So yeah, it has to have been something something physical for him to come out, and that's a shame too, considering this is his first start back. So,
And the worst part of this, he's going to be charged with a no decision.
I don't know if that's the worst part. The worst part is potentially something where he has to go back on the DL again.
Oh no! Especially when he was pitching fantastic.
Yeah,
3 strikeouts, 1 walk, very efficient.
Which means Herbie Hancock is coming back up to the bigs.
Yep. Surely it's an injury concern. Scott wouldn't have given him that 1 extra batter just to pull him.
Correct. Yeah, he would have let him finish the inning. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It must have been a situation where Cal saw something, and
now if Scott Service was pulling him just to be Scott Service, which we would have thought, then yeah, throw booze and popcorn and everything at him.
Yeah, that's also a good point, Riley. He was trying to talk them into staying in. Yeah.
He should have done the Mike Mussina. Sit down.
Well, yeah, but today's day and age, Scott Service babies his starters.
Yeah, he babies his starters and he backstabs his bullpen. I don't know what the Woo thing was about, but here's Trent Thornton, and that is in there for a strike, and this is going to be a long game, just given the fact that the bullpen is heavily going to be used.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the worst case scenario because now you have now your bullpen has to cover the remaining 5.
Yeah, and they're going that's going to be a lot of pitchers going to be used.
Yeah,
and I think that the 5-run lead had a little bit to do with it.
But this is where you should be using a guy like Austin Voth, a guy who can give you a couple innings.
Tyson Miller would have been great in this situation too. Get him some work in, but now he's gone.
Well, he was DFA'd, and the what you're hoping is that he clears waivers and ends up back in Tacoma. And there's a good chance that'll happen too. There's a good chance that happens.
They don't have a day off until Thursday, so this is not an ideal situation where you have Woo.
And
Woo could be fatigued. Yeah, it could be. Who knows? But I still think it was a very overcautious move. I still think. Now, until we get any of those reports saying that Woo had something bad, until then, I'm going to say that it was an overcaution. The pitch. Now, here's a ground ball, and that's to Dylan Moore. He's got a lot of ground to make up, and he gets him out. Good play by Dylan Moore.
Well, and and I was going to say that I'm a little miffed by the selection of the pitcher that came out of the bullpen. A guy like Trent Thornton. Yes, you're up by 5, but it's also you're still in the 5th, and you would like to that's why you have a guy like Austin Voth, because if you're up by 5 runs, he'll give you 2. He'll give you 2 innings before you can turn it to the back end of a bullpen. But that being said, Trent Thornton, we'll see.
Wonder if this is going to be the conversation where Dallas Keuchel is in the conversation.
Maybe
they just put down Emerson Hancock because now they need him to work on his game.
Yeah, but I mean, if Woo ends up on the 15-day DL, it would most likely be Emerson Hancock coming back up.
Can someone tell me what happened with BRYAN Woo right now? Is he injured or out? They're just taking a precautionary measure, which until we see what happens, I still think it was an overreaction. The 0-2.
Maybe.
Here's a line drive, and that is a base hit to left field.
You hope that it was an overreaction. That's what I hope. I hope that it was pulled for precaution, and that there's nothing to it. And then BRYAN will be making his next start. But that's like best case scenario. You hope that it's nothing serious.
All we've got is he was exiting the game with a trainer, and that's not good. And
That's never
and
good.
understandably, the Mariner fans really did let them know their opinions, which I did like. And that looks like we have maybe a double play ball. Nope, don't need it because it was 2 outs, and that's going to retire the side. And we go to the bottom of the 5th, and again another easy inning for the Mariners. And knowing how quick that was, I think Trent Thornton should get a second inning.
Probably. To answer your question, Kevin Kirby, did the neck tattoo hurt? Which one? This one or this one? This one right here, excuse me, this one right here is a cougar, and it did hurt right here, right behind the ear up on the bone. But outside of that, no, it didn't hurt that much.
Yeah. Ty, never met you before. Nice to meet you. Hope you subscribe to this channel. And also, haven't asked you guys to do this in a while, but also donate to the channel through the YouTube Super Chats, or also donate to my Venmo account, which I can actually link to you right now. Or better yet, use that QR code if you're on a computer or a TV. If you guys are watching it through my TV, I will be very flattered.
And also, if you guys want to subscribe to accounts, you can always go to the YouTube page. And
why don't you try to put in your YouTube channel next time, put in your YouTube channel on this show.
Yeah.
So at least because the fact, the fact that Mariners versus this live show gets their attention.
Yeah, you can always go to my Twitter account at Swinging Pod, and you can catch the last show, and of course that links to the YouTube as well too. So you can subscribe, or you can go to youtube.com / Swinging for the Fences 27 and check out the entire collection.
And yep, he's a work in progress. And funny thing is, today I actually tutored someone today how to set up a YouTube channel.
There you go.
And I got paid for it.
Well, I'll say this. We've been doing it since last June. I guess you can say it's a work in progress, because I only put out content twice a week. So it's not like Rooftop Sports, who puts things out like every day. Maybe in the future we'll do a lot more. We'll see.
Now here is Mitch Haniger. Here is the 0-1 pitch, and that is low for a ball. The 1-1 count for Mitch Haniger. And John Stanton worse than James Dolan he's worse than James Dolan. I'd rather have James Dolan no matter how bad he is, because at least he spends the money. No,
here's the thing. James Dolan doesn't get out of the way of his basketball operations, right?
So he gets in the way.
He gets in the way. Yes, he spends money, but he gets in the way, which is why the Knicks haven't been shit since the 90s. But
they're close to the Eastern Conference. And here is a line drive, and that will drop in for a base hit.
It's at least he's not John Fisher.
Yeah, I think now it seems that terrible. John Fisher could actually be the worst, and he should have known what he was getting himself into this entire time.
Well, I think Fisher knew exactly what he was going to do, which was eventually move the team out of Oakland.
The thing is, until Oakland gets their...
the way it played out with the city of Oakland, the city of Oakland stepped up and was ready to pony up the dough for a new stadium, and then they walked away from it. The way it's played out through the entire process, you just get the impression that Fisher had no...
And here's a ground ball, and that is a base hit, and is Mitch Haniger going to go to third base? And the throw to third, and he did not go to third base. Yeah. And the other thing is, you have to account to the fact is there's a lot of other growing cities that are looking for baseball teams. Sacramento's now looking for a team. Vegas very much is looking for a team.
Yeah, and the A's very well might end up in Vegas, but the city of Portland
is in considerations. Yeah.
Nashville, and of course you can't forget the fighting city of Montreal, Quebec, who hosted
Boise. If they care enough about baseball,
I doubt it. But yeah, Montreal should actually be reinstated as a major league team. The way that that played out with the
way
Expos
it happened
was just horrible.
Well,
Yeah,
everything everything was just unlucky, bad timing, and then they just had the worst possible owners. The craziest one is Jeffrey Loria was their owner, and then 2 years later buys the Marlins and wins a World Series.
So how that played out was the fact that Jeffrey Loria gutted the Expos, and the reason why he gutted the Expos was there was a land deal in place that would have built what would have been Labatt Field, and what ended up happening is that when it was time for him to pony up his side of the money, he said, no, I want Montreal to pay for it all. And they said, go F yourself. And that was it. So he gutted the team out of reaction. And then he tried to buy the Red Sox. That's how he ended up in Miami, was that he tried to buy the Red Sox. Major League Baseball said no, gave it to John Henry, and said, if you allow John Henry to buy the Red Sox, we'll let you buy the Marlins. And so
he got a World Series out of it.
Yeah, and he swapped the Expos for the Marlins, and then won a World Series, and then gutted the entire team.
And Mitch Garver thought that was a walk, but now it's gonna be 3-2, and some say he should have swung at it.
Crawford will be coming back from injury sometime on this homestand, I would probably think.
Let's take a look and see what his ETA is going to be. They say May 17th is his ETA.
I think
Santos is now saying July 1st.
I think Shannon Drayer today reported on Twitter that he's playing without pain, and so now it's just an issue of
ball four, take your base, and the bases are loaded, and this is going to be Luke Raley going to be up with that, and he has a chance to do something big of damage. And looks like we've got Mark Kotze coming out. Looks like I think he has seen enough, and I think he might pull him
for sure.
Him.
Yeah, so apparently Crawford's close, man.
What's your takes on cities having multiple sports teams on the same sport, like Clippers in LA? Says like, I mean, it's all about market size, right? I mean, Chicago has a huge city to support 2 baseball teams. LA has the market to support 2 football teams and 2 baseball teams and 2 basketball teams. It's just purely on population now. I know, I get it. Like, who cares about the Clippers, right? Because they could have a super ultra team championships and they still aren't, and the Lakers are still going to have the big name.
Yeah, but let's not pretend Seattle is some small rinky-dink city in the corner of the. Like Seattle's big. Seattle's big enough.
Seattle's still growing.
Team. Well, but Seattle's still big enough to hold 4 teams because they did for a very long time. And the reason why the Sonics left had nothing to do with viability or anything else. It was the fact that the NBA colluded with Clay Bennett to allow him to rip it. I agree with you. I think Seattle definitely needs to have an NBA team, and I think they will within the next 2 years. But it had nothing to do with arena. It had nothing to do with viability. It had everything to do with David Stern repaying a favor back to Clay Bennett. That was it.
Yeah. Bill Gates should purchase one. He's not even a sports savvy guy, and he's too busy building nuclear reactors, which I do respect. I don't like Bill Gates a bit, but I do agree with him that he is trying to build nuclear energy. I will give him that. That's the one thing I like that he has done.
I don't like Bill Gates at all. So I don't like Bill Gates at all.
I mean, no, this is coming from someone that doesn't like him, but at least he's doing something. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. No one can build nuclear power. It never will be accepted in America. But if you're Bill Gates, who has all the political connections, I'm all for it.
Well,
as you can tell, I'm a nuclear guy.
What he was doing, what he did in the pandemic was BS.
It was ludicrous, yes. And we gotta be careful. Yeah. Well, what he did was it wasn't ideal.
And then what he's doing right now with the WHO in trying to rip freedoms from American people. No, I'm not on board.
No, Steve's just joking. The 1-0.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Yeah, it was just a joke.
That's just a joke. You don't need to take this thing down or anything.
Yeah, come on, YouTube.
Steve Ballmer should move the Clippers to Seattle.
He's not going to.
Yeah.
He's
No,
broke
not
ground
going
for his
to.
new stadium. There
Yeah,
was
that's not
speculations,
going to.
and now here's a fly.
Yeah, if Steve Ballmer was going to move the Clippers to Seattle, it would already happened by now. And since
It would have happened after 24.
Yeah, well, he already said when he bought him, he said he wasn't going to move them, and they've already broke ground on the new arena. So
it makes no. And I had a friend saying that, oh, that's all staged. Like, no one spends millions of dollars to stage the pitch up high. 3-1, 3-1 count for Luke Rayleigh.
And I think he spent $2 billion to get the Clippers. So it's not millions; it's billion.
No, millions to like stage the ground. That's what my friend was trying to say. I'm like, the pitch. And here's a ground ball, double play ball, I think. No double play, just a force out at home. But the bad news is Ty France is up to the bat.
The mighty Ty France.
The double play man.
He doubled his first time up, and he put one down the left field line. So, we'll see.
Interestingly, I have 41 people on my Twitter. To you on Twitter, go to my YouTube. Give that the view, guys. Come on.
You know what? Here's what I'm going to say to that. Views are views no matter where they're coming from. Yes, it would be ideal for you to have them on YouTube. But you know what, though? You don't turn away a viewer, whether it's on X or whatever platforms you stream off of. You welcome all viewers.
Okay, right, I welcome you guys.
Isn't that right, guys?
I guess so.
But you know how that goes, though. A lot of people will see it on X and will just watch it from X. You know what I mean?
It's convenient for them. Whatever works for them. I can't force them where to go. I just give them options. And Ferguson's the bullpen pitcher, by the way.
Yep.
And Ty France is working on a 1-1, and here's the pitch. And that is low. Good eye for Ty France, because Julio would have chased that and missed it miserably.
Oh, absolutely. But, Ty's in a, it looks like Ty's in an advantageous count. So let's see if he can put one in play here.
Just anything. Like, do that corner thing again. And here's the 2-1 and foul ball. We'll even take a sacrifice fly.
That's exactly right. Ty, you don't need to hit a salami here. You just need to put bat on ball.
Still have not had Starbucks since Howard Schultz sold the sign.
Good for you. I've had a lot of Starbucks since then.
Yeah, I kind of did too. I drink their water a lot. The pitch. Now here's a line drive foul. Now my thing is, like, I don't want to grudge on like 06, 7, and 8. I just won't do it. It's just not healthy. I did that. I grudged for literally like 4 years straight until Chris Hansen came and happened. Then I let that go.
No, you know what's the crazy thing about it is
ball 3-2.
It wasn't just Schultz and it wasn't just Bennett. It was
Clay
also
Bennett, City of Seattle.
It was also former Mayor Nichols that completely played the Seattle fans with the lawsuit that was always going to be
3-2.
about money.
Honestly, that lawsuit was pointless because, and here's a foul ball. No, the lawsuit made no sense because he was suing him to the lease, but the lease was until 2010 anyway, so there was really nothing to sue about. The whole suing thing was just a publicity stunt, and I think it was
the suing thing was exactly what they got out of it. It was for money. They looked at it as an opportunity to pay off the existing bonds on Key Arena, and that's exactly what they got the money to do it.
It was to get Clay Bennett to pay double because the actual lease was $21 million left. And strike 3 called, and Ty France is steaming. But what I'm saying is Ty France, you should have swung at that.
Yeah, but the other thing was that it was like 32 million up front with another 30 some odd billion to be paid within 5 years if they got a new arena.
It was 45, and then another 30.
There it is
by next year. They had to do it by next year. If Seattle came up with an arena, but they didn't. So Clay Bennett was off the hook for 30.
Yeah, they let him off the hook for 30. But that's there's a reason why they didn't have a provision of like they need to have an expansion team, because that wasn't Seattle's priority. Seattle's priority was to get as much money out of Clay Bennett as he took the team away. and that was their
Yeah,
purpose.
Clay Bennett. It was his evil. That was his evil conspiracy.
And oh, by the way, had they taken it to the judgment, City of Seattle would have won, and the Sonics would have been
And
forced to wait 2 more
worst
years.
case scenario, even if Judge Peckman said Seattle lost, Seattle could have said, Nichols could have said, well, I want 1 more year, and they would have gotten it.
Yeah, well, they would have won that. They would have won it, and if they would have been held for 2 more years in Seattle,
And here's a line drive, and that is going to drop in for a base hit, and that's going to score in Cal Raleigh. And here is another run coming in, and the Mariners now lead it 7-0, and Dylan Moore is absolutely on fire.
There it is. Yep, good for Dylan. But if you remember what happened the very next year, their main Clay Bennett's main source of funds, Aubrey McClendon, lost everything when the housing market crashed.
Lost 90% of his money, and then that's why half a decade later he rammed his SUV into a bridge, into a wall.
And that may have been the opening for somebody to come in and buy it from Bennett.
Steve Ballmer.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Steve Ballmer would have bought it for like a depleted price too. He would have bought it for less than value.
Yeah. And that could have kept the Sonics in town, but of course they settled.
Yeah, it's sad because lost opportunity for me to like not take my cousins to a Sonics game. Yeah. The pitch, that's a strike. And now I have my other cousin who's my neighbor. He talks about Thunder sometimes. And I'm like, yep, this is the result of losing the Sonics. The entire Gen Z has no idea who the Sonics are. It went up to Gen Y.
Yeah, I mean, that was the best part of the fall and the winter months before baseball was going to Key Arena, watching the Sonics play a couple times a week. I did that for years.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I used to go when the Kings would come into town to see Chris Webber. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Chris Webber. 1-2. And now here's ground ball foul.
Absolutely. And it's a shame. It was just a shame that wasn't a part of the equation anymore. Which is why I do think that we're on the cusp of a new NBA TV deal, and I think that's when I think we'll hear that expansion is going to happen for Seattle.
1-2, and no question you'll see me doing some Sonics content. That's why I've been kickstarting it to get the ball rolling. I have never watched basketball when the Sonics were a thing and will not watch till they come back. Oh, yeah, I don't blame you. The pitch. And that is strike 3 called, and that's going to retire the side. But the Mariners come up with 2 more runs, and they are absolutely just steamrolling the Oakland A's. We go to the top of the 6th. It is 7-0. And Steve, your thoughts on that Dylan Moore hit?
I thought it was what's interesting about that pitch was it was down in the zone, and Dylan went down and got it. That was that was what I thought about it, because usually that's a pitch that usually gets swung through or gets taken for a strike, and Dylan was being aggressive, and that's what I liked about it. It's what we don't see enough of, and good on Dylan.
It was very good on Dylan. What's the rumor with Jody Allen selling the Hawks? I mean, we haven't really heard anything, but I don't see any relocations happening anytime soon because Seahawks Stadium is still up to par.
Well, it's not even that. It's even if Jody Allen sells them, the NFL will never let the Seahawks leave Seattle. It's already tried once back in the day with Ken Beering, and it failed because the NFL stepped in and said no. And the NFL likes the Seattle market. Why would they be okay with them?
Huge market. It's a great, fantastic market. And it causes earthquakes.
And you were saying that, the Beastquake, and you were saying that, Lumen Field is still relatively on the newer side, and there's just no reason to leave.
No,
even
not
if she
at
does,
all.
yeah, even if she does sell it, which I would probably think that she might, because really this wasn't her business, that was her brother's business. And
she's letting everyone else do the jobs.
Yeah, and of course they still own the Portland Trailblazers as well. So yeah, if
that's another question of what they're going to do with the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, if
that thing is Paul Allen not having kids. That's tragic.
Well, if they sell, if the Seahawks get sold, she'll walk away with $2 billion.
Not bad.
not bad. And whoever buys it is going to be entrenched in the Seattle market. And do you really think Seahawks fans will ever let that go? No. Seahawks fans would literally march down the street, torches and pitchforks. That's not going to happen.
I don't know. I mean, we had some passion for the Sonics too. Don't forget. Well, actually, no, Sonics fans. But overall, Seattle fans are very passive aggressive. They get passionate when literally everything's too late. That's what I've learned from Seattle people.
Well, with the Sonics, I would agree with you because they were picketing down at the Capitol, but that wasn't then. Like they should have been picketing when Howard Schultz was going to the city of Seattle asking to rework the lease. Like at that point in time, they came late. But I do remember. The Save Our Seahawks back when Ken Behring was trying to leave, and they were picketing the old Seahawk training facility in Kirkland.
3-1, the pitch. Where was that practice facility? Was it like at a high school?
No. It was right next to Northwest University in Kirkland.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does NFL still not allow cross ownership? Would be cool if Ballmer bought the Hawks. I don't see why.
No, they would. He would be able to. You can't own 3.
He'd be allowed to.
You can own 2, but you can't own 3 across all 3 major leagues, right? Which is why you see the guy that owns the Chargers. I think he owns the
Spanos.
Yeah, I think he owns the Colorado Avalanche, and I know that. Paul Allen owned the Seahawks and the Trailblazers. But yeah, you can own 2, but not 3. So yeah, I guess Ballmer could theoretically buy the Seahawks.
But Ballmer is all buried in his Clippers.
Yeah, like he's a basketball guy though.
Yeah, he's not a football guy. That's the thing. And I don't see Bezos buying a team. They keep saying he's going to, but I don't think he would. The pitch. He's very focused on his empire.
I'll tell you what though, that would be a good buy for Jeff Bezos to expand the Amazon empire, because you would think that in the stadium, like for instance, if he bought the Mariners, do you imagine how all concessions would be Amazon or Amazon Prime? It would be
swing and a miss, strike 3, down he goes, and we got 2 outs. Oh yeah, and Bezos does have passion too for business. He's not. He doesn't always go cheap. Oh, Stan Kroenke. Yeah,
Stan Kroenke. Yeah,
Stan Kroenke is quite a guy.
Yeah,
he's very ironic. Didn't he move the Rams from LA to St. Louis and then move them back?
No. He moved them from St. Louis to LA. Kroenke didn't buy the Rams until they were already in St. Louis.
Oh, at least St. Louis got a Super Bowl out of it.
Yeah.
And here's Brent Rooker. We're looking at a 1-0 right now.
Yeah, but St. Louis isn't
1-0.
Isn't a traditional football market.
Yeah, they're pure baseball market.
Yeah, for sure. And they're a hockey market. The crazy thing is because they had the Cardinals too. A lot of people forget that the Cardinals were in St. Louis for a while.
And now here's a line drive, and that is going to be a base hit. That's a 2 out. Looks like that's going to be No, it's going to be a single for Rooker. And right now warming up is Kirby Snead, by the way. And his wife's family owns the Broncos. Oh, my God.
Like, by the way, do people really think that if Jeff Bezos bought the Mariners that he would just write blank checks for players? Chances are he would run the team exactly the way it's being run right now.
Yeah. I mean, he does have passion, but he has passion for his business. But the question is, would he have passion for the Mariners? And you can't really tell. There's one time where he looks really passionate. He'll spend freely, invest in his business, or he'll be like, "Oh no, we gotta do dollar by dollar."
Right.
But all the criticisms that he gets on how he pays his minimum employees. But then again, that's a minimum wage job too, and.
Right. Correct. I just think that the way that when you see the owner of the Phillies or you see the owner of the Dodgers, I mean that's the exception. It's not the rule. Most ownerships aren't like that. So
I still want Mark Cuban. He spends money. Almost bought the Texas Rangers a couple of years ago. Yeah, he wouldn't buy it in Seattle because Dallas is his home.
Right.
I don't think it would make any sense. I would love it. Don't get me wrong. Mark Cuban's very passionate. He will spend the money. But yeah, Bezos, I don't think would make much of a difference for the Mariners. It's one of those things you kind of don't want one of those. You don't want one thing I've learned about sports ownership. You don't necessarily want a corporate guy buying a team. That's what I've learned. You don't want a corporation type guy running a team. You want someone that it's like he made his billions out of a small business something, and he was able to do it independently without board members. That's the type of guy you want, but they don't want to because money's tight for them naturally because they don't have the board members. They don't have the stock money to back them up.
Right. But with a guy like Stanton, he was a part of the Nintendo ownership group. So he was already here. And he just picked up where they left off, which it is what it is. And of course he's a corporate guy as well too.
Swing and a miss, strike one. I mean, I've worked in a corporate job for 19 days, and there's a reason it was only 19 days.
Yeah, I mean, I work for a massive global conglomerate, and it can wear on you because you're not a person, you're a number.
Swing and a miss, strike two. TK said something interesting. Back when I did tech contracting, Amazon was known for paying good, but worked you to the bone. Yes. And Costco, I can tell you, also works you to the bones.
Yeah, but you know what though? I've known a lot of people that work for Costco and said they loved it.
That's because they passed the 90 days.
Probably.
I didn't. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Down he goes, and that was Kirby Snead, who's been looking pretty good so far. So who would you guys be perfect for owners for the Mariners? I don't know. Mark Cuban, but ain't going to happen.
Me. If I had the money to buy the Mariners, I would do it, and I would pour everything into winning championships. That's just my mentality, right? So it's like, what are you in this business for?
Yeah, and you would think that you would have, if you're buying the Mariners, you would think that the Mariners are your number two source of income, or maybe your number three, and that's like your toy that you want to play with.
Right.
Like, for anyone who wants to own a sports team, do not treat it as your sole breadwinner. No one should treat a baseball team or any team as a breadwinner.
Well, that's, yes and no. I mean, for a guy like George Steinbrenner, the Yankees were his sole breadwinner. And that's why, but he also recognized the thing I loved about George Steinbrenner was the fact that he understood that winning cures everything. Right. And he was in a market in New York where winning was mandatory. And he answered that bell all the time.
He was a very passionate guy.
Yeah. And that's the thing is he was not afraid to spend money, and he did it, and he won championships. And because of that, it reshaped the Yankees forever.
Yeah. Because when he bought the Yankees, they were meh. And then he turned them into this huge empire. And a lot of people hated him just because the Yankees won. So it was just pure jealousy. But Steinbrenner, he had a big heart. Yeah. He presented himself as a butthole kind of guy, very in your face guy, but that's New York for you. But he was passionate. He cared.
The funny thing was that he was trying to buy the Indians. He's from Cleveland. George Steinbrenner was from Cleveland, and he wanted to buy the Indians because he wanted to do for the Indians what he eventually did with New York. But of course, they wouldn't let him buy the Indians. So he bought the Yankees. And I mean, automatically, the Yankees won championships in the 70s under him. And, they had a rough go in the 80s. But I'll tell you what, it was only when George Steinbrenner was kicked out of ownership for like 2 years in the early 90s were they allowed to build, because George is one of those type of guys that wants to trade all his prospects for stars. And so that those teams of the 90s wouldn't have happened had he not left. But yeah,
we're looking at Josh Rojas is at a 1-1 count so far. He did make a huge swing and a miss. And you can tell we're talking about other things and here's a line drive base hit. And that is another hit by Josh Rojas. And he is on fire.
Yeah. So Forbes lists the M's at 2.2 billion. So they would probably sell for 2.5.
Yeah. The thing is, we don't know who that owner would be. And I wouldn't expect any of it to happen anytime soon anyway at this point.
I don't know, man, because John Stanton is in his 70s now.
He is.
I think he's like 71.
The pitch to Julio, and that is a strike. But the question is, who's going to buy that team? And the other thing is, Stanton's not the only problem. Howard Lincoln and John Ellis are still part of the organization as board members, so they are still very much involved in closed doors too. So even if John Stanton wanted to, Howard Lincoln would be no.
Here's a name that would be interesting for Mariner fans because he's already a minority owner, and that is Ken Griffey Jr.
But he doesn't have billions of dollars.
Oh yeah, but he knows people who have billions of dollars, and I would think that Ken Griffey Jr. could put together an ownership group.
I don't know, because remember he was like, "Hey, you think that this ownership's the problem? You guys are mistaken. They just want to win as much as you do." In that Mariners Hall of Fame speech he did.
Sure. Well, what's he going to say? He's representing the Mariners. What is he going to?
Kevin Mather? Woo! I loved Kevin Mather. No.
And here is the 1-2 pitch. No, of course not.
You know, the one time I jumped on the woke bandwagon was when Kevin Mather popped up. I actually jumped on that. He's a racist, even though that wasn't the problem, in my opinion. The biggest problem, my biggest concerns was when he trashed Kyle Seager and Jared Kelenic. Like the Julio and the Iwakuma thing were like the least of my problems.
Right.
The pitch. And here's a ground ball foul. But I did jump on that bandwagon. I was like, yeah, we should totally brand him as that because that was the only way that would get him out of the job because before that, he was getting away with everything.
Well, Kevin Mather put the Mariners business publicly in the streets, which is what he was not supposed to do. You don't give away the playbook. And
which he just did.
Which he did
the
with
1-2.
The Bellevue Rotary
and strike
Club.
3 call, down goes Julio. And Julio's arguing, but Julio, you're not doing a good job, so you gotta keep your mouth zippy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mather gave up the playbook at the Bellevue Rotary Club.
Club. He said everything that he wasn't supposed to say.
Yeah.
It was just bad, horrible lack of judgment. And now here is Mitch Haniger. And here is the pitch. And that is inside for a ball.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
All good.
Yeah.
Mitch Haniger.
Mariners are 1-0. Yeah, I'll tell you what. This has been a very pleasant evening tonight at T-Mobile Park because you know what, the seven runs the Mariners have put up, only 2 of them, came via the long ball. Tonight was the story of manufacturing runs.
I think only one of them was the long ball.
Yeah, it was the Dylan Moore home run. I thought it was a 2-run shot, but
Mitch Haniger's working the 1-1, and here's the pitch, foul ball.
And this is what you want to see: the ability to score runs when the long ball isn't there. And the Mariners did a very fine job of that tonight. These are the encouraging wins that you want to see.
Exactly. And 1-2, Mitch Haniger. I would really like to see him extend this. The pitch, and that is outside for a ball. And that's the other thing. They're going to be a little bit more patient because they're not going to feel as much pressure. So that's a plus right there for being up 7-0. As Lucas is pitching, he's got 13 pitches in so far. But yeah, Kevin Mather and Chuck Armstrong were poison. The 2-2 pitch.
Well, so was Howard Lincoln.
Strike 3 called. Howard Lincoln was honest. That's the one thing I'll give him credit. At least he was honest. Yeah, John Stanton is just a condescending liar.
Well, so was Howard Lincoln, though, really, when you think about it, because he was the CEO of Nintendo and he was running the ball club like he was running Nintendo. And, that dude all spoken parables to the spoken parables and cliche when he spoke to the media, and it was obvious what his game plan was for the team.
Remember when he had that press conference when he was talking about the Ichiro trade? He didn't care. Like, he was just like, Ichiro Suzuki, and he was great. He was just reading off a script. He didn't care. The
He didn't
01.
care.
And that
Is
is a ball.
It's not his job to care.
No,
It's business. It's not personal. It's business.
it is.
Yeah.
And after Cal Raleigh, if you can take over, I got to make a call because I got someone's calling me. It's the same person. I'm like, okay, I'm going to answer the phone. But after the Cal Raleigh at that, which also basically means it could be the end of the inning. And now we're looking at the 0-2 pitch on the way, and that is a foul back. I've got 79 total viewers for this show. 19 from you, 54 on my Twitter, 54%, baby. And 6 from YouTube. I'll take it.
54%. That's so poetic, isn't it?
And it's doing me a favor, the 0-2. And that is going to be low for a ball 1.
Yeah.
Just remember, they're just doing us a favor with 54% of the time.
Yeah. That's, by the way, Jerry DiPoto is never going to live that down.
No. The 1-2. And strike 3 called, and that will retire the side. And until I come back, Steve is going to take over for the play-by-play until I'm back.
Yeah. So, very, it was a very solid inning there for the Mariners, but for the most part, again, when you're coming off a series like you did with the Twins, where your offense was virtually non-existent for, all 4 games, it's nice to be able to come back against a team that that you're better than. And this was the exact same thing how the Mariners treated the A's last year, which was, not friendly. And tonight against a guy like Paul Blackburn, who has been pitching pretty decent so far this year, and they took advantage the second time through the lineup. And again, I'll get back to it, and I'll just say that, one of my big problems with this team is the fact that they rely too heavily on the home run ball. And of course, a lot of fans like the dingers, and rightfully so. But there's more ways to skin a cat than just hitting a home run. And tonight, especially in, I believe it was the bottom of the 5th inning, they get the leadoff walk. They get a couple walks, and then they get the double by Raley. They get the double by France, and all of a sudden, this game is busted wide open. Dylan Moore gets the 2-run shot, and then the next thing you know, it's 5-0. And this is the potency of this lineup. If it is, if everything is running the way it's supposed to be running, this actually really is a very deadly lineup, and it can be. And it all gets back to being aggressive in the counts and with pitches that you're able to recognize. And I guess that is the nexus of, control the zone, where it is you're gonna work counts, you're gonna take your walks, but you're going to handle the pitches that are strikes. Tonight they were able to do that, and here we are sitting at 7-0. So fantastic performance tonight by the Mariners. The question is this going to carry over till tomorrow? And that's the name of the game, right? That's what baseball is all about. It's about consistency. Those players that can do it on a consistent basis are the ones that get paid the big bucks. With the Mariners, that's been the one bugaboo since 2021 is their inability to be consistent. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. But overall, good night tonight. How much do you think the Mariners would sell for, and do you think they would buy the whole ownership out or keep a couple minority owners? Well, generally how this works is when a franchise sells, the first thing that happens is they take a vote from the minority ownership because they're going to be the first right of refusal. If like John Stanton was given first right of refusal to buy the Mariners as he was a minority owner, and he was able to put together an ownership group that bought the team in 2016. That's usually how it works. And if they can't, then they take outside, they'll take outside bids. I would assume that if it's an outside bid, no, they're not going to keep any of the minority owners. So, all right, well, here we are. Looks like top of the 7th, and that's a fly ball that's going to ricochet out the right field wall, hustling into second base. It's not going to be in time, and that is a leadoff double. And so the A's strike right away, and I think that's what Shaling Lairs. Good hitter. Gets a fastball right down the middle of the plate. Ropes it into right field for a double. Good on Mitch Haniger for playing that one off the wall correct, because Mitch has had his issues. So now leadoff double, and the throw to the plate will be a little inside, ball 1. Tyler Soderstrom, who's 0 for 2 tonight, ground out, foul out. And here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. 1-1. And, from this stage on, I would probably assume the name of the game is obviously limit the damage that the A's can possibly do. Because, again, the A's are a very good hitting team, and that's a swing and a miss. Strike 2. 1-2 now to Soderstrom. And that's the one thing you just don't want to do. You don't want to give the A's an opportunity to get back into this game because they can actually score runs in a hurry. So here's the 1-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 1 away. Good way to, that was a fantastic way to rebound a little bit. And I believe this is what Kirby Snead on the hill. Nice little slider running away, tailing away from Soderstrom right there. So good pitch. Here's the first offering on the way. Ooh, outside. It was outside, but he gets the benefit of the doubt. Called strike 1. This is Max Schulman. Max Schulman, who was 0 for 2 tonight, fly out, ground out. Schulman slugging .333 on the year, 3.33 OBP, and here's the pitch, low ball 1, 1-1. Thank you, William. Yeah, and Oakland's got some intriguing offensive players outside. Obviously Brent Rooker, but they have some guys that you kind of like, and that's a foul back, 1 and 2. And so quickly Snead is ahead in the count. Runner on second, 1 down, and that's the one thing that I like about Oakland is the fact that they have intriguing players. Guys that you may not have heard of, but when you look at the box score, and all of a sudden there's a reason why the A's are scoring 6 per game, and that's outside, ball 2, 2-2.
And I'm back because hashtag don't quit your day job. The pitch, and that is a strike.
You could have at least let me finish the call. I mean, I'm just messing with you, man. I'm messing with you.
Lawrence Butler. If it was Ron Fairley, I would be like, Ron Fairley, move out of the way.
With a runner on second base and a base hit up the middle, that guy will be looking to score.
No, it's like this. With a runner on second base, the runners really am going to look to score. And I remember one time he tried to compare the San Francisco Stadium and Safeco Field. Like the dimensions are very similar to Safeco Field. Like, what are you talking about?
Ron Fairley is actually one of the coolest dudes that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I've ran into Ron a few times over the years, and what I like about Ron, he'll talk your ear off if you ask him a question. And I know a lot about the history of baseball, and I know Ron Fairley's career quite well. As a matter of fact, he was a member of the
Ground ball
expansion.
to first base, and that's going to retire the side. And hold that story about Ron Fairley, because we are doing the 7th inning stretch. Everyone get up on your feet. It is time to sing 7th inning stretch. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. So
let's root for the Mariners. They don't win. It's a shame. It would be a shame because they're up 7-0.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the day baseball. That was Spanish.
Español, muy bien, español. Yo puedo hablar español muy poquito. Louis. Oh no, we gotta go now. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, did you know in 1976, the year of the bicentennial, there was a motion on the state floor in the State House of Washington to make Louie Louie the official song of the state of Washington, and it did not pass. That's a little history.
Now it makes sense why my 4th grade class musical did the Louie Louie at the very end because of that. And I think my music teacher had something to do with that, because he probably was in that era where he wanted it to happen, but it didn't happen.
Probably.
So he wanted that moment. So it wasn't because of the Mariners.
No, but but the Mariners made Louie Louie a staple. And of course, by the way, who sang Louie Louie? Do you know the group?
No.
The Trogs. And the Trogs, I believe, are from the Puget Sound area.
We have a lot of Puget Sound talent here. And now here is Mitch Garver. And now here's the pitch. And that is a strike. And then you were to tell me about some Ron Fairley stories. And it's probably going to be a mouthful and we got to somehow do it in between these pitches. And
No. I was just going to say that he can talk your ear off. And of course, I know a lot about the history of baseball. And
that is a strike. 0-2.
He was a part of the inaugural roster for the Montreal Expos.
He was also part of the '65 World Series LA Dodgers with Sandy Koufax.
He was the
home run.
He was the guy. Dodger fans didn't like him because he was the guy that replaced Duke Snider. But he was a part of the Montreal, and I used to ask him, how is it like playing in Jarry Park, because that's where the Expos originally played. And he literally talked to me for 45 minutes about playing in Montreal, which was awesome. So good guy.
As Mitch Garver just struck out. It's too bad that he didn't live long enough.
Love Ron Fairley, man. Great guy.
Dave Niehaus and Ron Fairley were the dynamic duo.
Well, I mean, those two were on the TV broadcast. And of course, in those days it was the simulcast. But it was great because, Dave Niehaus was the guy that told the stories, right? He had a zillion stories and he made the games fun, which is what you don't get with Dave Sims or Aaron Goldsmith.
Dave Sims just goes right through it.
Yeah. And, Ron Fairley was just that cool little accentuation of Dave Niehaus, and the two made Mariner baseball fun.
The 1-1 pitch. Well, maybe that's our opportunity. We're filling that void because we have all these stories to tell.
Absolutely. Like I still remember the first Ken Griffey Jr. home run I saw live, and I'll never forget it.
89.
Nope, it was in 1992. Now, of course, I had been to games before that, but I really don't remember. I remember this one quite vividly because it was my birthday in 1992, and it was a 12 o'clock start against the Baltimore Orioles. Eric Hansen was throwing for the Mariners against Ben McDonald.
92. Okay.
Yeah, it was former number 1 pick Ben McDonald. And that was the game where Edgar hit 2 doubles. Mariners win 7-1, but in the bottom of the third,
3-2
with
foul
2
ball.
on, Ken Griffey Jr. hit a monster home run into the upper deck in the Kingdome, and I just remember standing up and watching the flight of that ball go into the upper deck, and it was the coolest thing ever.
The most fun part of those Kingdom games was the fireworks that go off after a home run.
This was
I remember seeing those.
Yeah, this was pre-fireworks. They didn't do that in the early 90s.
They did. I think 93 is when it started.
Yeah.
3-2. Foul ball again.
And this was the year before Piniella took over. So this was during the one season of Bill Plummer.
Man, they just had to oust out Jim Lefebvre.
Jim Lefevre.
They shouldn't have. The 3-2 pitch. And that is ball 4, take your base. And Luke Raley, he's been actually contributing very well for the Mariners today.
Yeah.
Why do you like him?
Because he gets on base.
Up until what?
Up until Lou Piniella, Jim Lefevre was the winningest manager in Mariner history, and he gave them their first 500 season. A lot of people,
Yeah, 83 and 79, and they got rid of him, and they traded away their entire bullpen for some overweight guy in left field.
And by the way, man, I thought Kevin Mitchell coming to Seattle was going to be awesome.
I actually read a Sports Illustrated preview of 92, and they actually pointed out the concerns like, hey, I've noticed that he's actually put on some weight. That could be a concern, and look what happened. The pitch. Here's a ground ball, and that gets through for a base hit, and now we've got runners on first and second. Ty France has actually played very well, and this is the Ty France we were asking for. Like I said, we all said he doesn't have to hit home runs. He can hit 0 home runs, but as long as he's batting over like 270, we'll more than take it.
Who's been the biggest draft bust in the last 20 years? Probably Mark Appel. I'm going to say Dustin Ackley, 100%.
Mark Appel in the last 20 years. I never knew there was a Mark Appel.
I know who Mark Appel is, yeah, but Dustin Ackley for me, because he came in with so much hype. So much hype.
He
was rushed. Yeah, he came in with so much hype, and of course, the word on him was that he hit at every single level. You know, college guy, and then of course, he didn't hit at every level, and then he came to the big leagues and absolutely tanked.
With the exception of the second half of the 2011 season, that's when we saw the potential of Dustin Ackley.
Yeah, but you know, it is what it is. Brandon Morrow, Jeff Clement. There was a lot of busts for the Mariners.
Man, Jeff Clement. Yep.
Well, when you look at the Brandon Morrow draft specifically,
Over Tim Lincecum.
Yeah, they passed on Lincecum, and I think they passed on Troy Tulowitzki as well too.
Man, they passed on the homeboy too, the UW kid.
Mm-hmm. That was for me like the worst, because I had seen Lincecum pitch at the University of Washington, and that dude was pretty close to major league ready in college. And I don't think he spent that much time in the minors. And of course, he won a couple rings and won a couple Cy Young awards. It would have been nice to see him in Mariner blue instead of Giants, whatever, black and orange or whatever.
Yeah,
but you know, that's the thing. It's like you have a dude that's in your own backyard.
Yeah, and they don't even draft him.
Right. And it's the same thing.
Just like Seahawks did that. Even if they had the number 1 pick, they would have still gotten Rick Meyer instead of Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah. That was, you know, and what's funny is they would have done that purely based on money. That's, you know, that's probably why they would have done it, because there is a money discrepancy back in those days between the first and second picks. And they probably would have taken Meyer because he was going to be the cheaper option. But
he was going to be the next Joe Montana.
Yeah, but you know, that hurt too, because Drew Bledsoe. Oh, dude, I watched a lot of Cougar football.
He's a gunslinger.
Dude, he came out of college just firing on all cylinders.
Who did you like better at the time, Luke or Drew Bledsoe or Ryan Leaf? If you look as a college level, you can't say NFL, obviously, for reasons.
No,
Dylan Moore. And now here's a little check swing, and that's going to be a base hit. And here is Luke Raley. He's going to go home, and the Mariners take another lead, and Dylan Moore scores in another run.
Probably Ryan Leaf, just because he took the Cougars to an area where Bledsoe never did. I mean, Bledsoe took them to the Copper Bowl in 92 after they beat the Huskies in the Snow Bowl. But Ryan Leaf took them to a Rose Bowl. And
5 RBIs for Dylan Moore. I mean, Dylan Moore is just been insane.
And if you remember, Ryan Leaf, I think he played a little bit the tail end of his freshman year, but it was the sophomore year that really put him on the map. And I remember that Apple Cup at Husky Stadium his sophomore year where he almost beat him there. And then, of course, in Pullman. And then, of course, his junior year when he blew up.
Here's Luis Urias, and that is
the guy
foul ball.
The guy for me was the Hawaiian, Jason Gesser.
And any quick thoughts on that Dylan Moore RBI?
Yeah, and what's funny, it was almost like a check swing. You know what I mean? It was like it wasn't even a full swing. It was a check swing blooper. That just gets over the head of the shortstop and into no man's land. And it was just your typical oops. It
was a big oopsie. And Urias nearly struck out on that, and it was in the strike zone. The umpire's like, "Okay, I'll make it up to you guys after my 10 other botched calls."
It was a half swing, right? So you saw the pitch. It looked like it was a 1-2. A slider in on the hands, and he just kind of
went oopsie. And now he has 5 RBIs. Dylan Moore has been the best player on this team today.
Bledsoe did more with less, yeah, probably. Bledsoe obviously had the better tools of the two, 100%.
Now here is a foul ball.
Pro level. That translates.
If only Ryan Leaf just did not go to Vegas.
Ryan Leaf had problems even in college, and it wasn't drugs.
He had problems going back to high school.
So obviously I had a lot of ties to Washington State University, and Ryan Leaf didn't listen to Mike Price. He literally just showed up and played football, and of course he was very good. We got
a double play ball, and that's going to be a double play, and that will end the inning. But the Mariners score in another run to make it 8-0, thanks to a Dylan Moore RBI.
Yeah, and so Mike Price let him get away with a lot of things that he probably shouldn't have gotten away with. But then again, the Cougars were winning and they went to a Rose Bowl, so you're not gonna saddle a Mustang. So,
and then the Chargers happened, and there was that "Don't talk to me, all right, knock it off."
I talked to Ryan. This was
you talked to Ryan before.
Yeah, I've talked to Ryan a few times. I like Ryan. He's a good guy.
Do you think you could get him on a show here someday? Do you have that kind of deep connection?
I haven't talked to Ryan in about 4 years, but maybe.
So you talked to him when you talked to him when he's in a good state too.
I talked to him. Yeah, I talked to him when he got out of rehab. This was before he went back to prison. This was when I first originally got him was after he released his book. And I was asking him about San Diego, and he said I wasn't coachable. I wasn't listening to my coaches at all. I thought I could just show up and play football. It's different.
Yeah, it didn't work. And Ryan Leaf once said that he wants to make a movie about himself, which I think if he does, he'll make money if he does that.
He the one time when he did was at the end of his career when he was with Dallas. I don't know if you remember. He started one season for Dallas.
He did. He was 0-4.
And it was by that time he had wrist issues because he had a messed up joint with his hand, so he had to pop his hand back into the socket off his thigh pad. But that was his last shot, and he knew it. And so he listened to Chan Gailey and the Cowboys coaching staff, and that's actually was the only time where he threw more touchdowns than interceptions. But he was still, by that point, he was a shot fighter.
Yeah, was tragic how it just didn't work out. But the man, if he had it right, he could have easily been one of the top quarterbacks in history. But unfortunately,
who would you take? Right? Would you take Peyton or would you take Ryan? And it's Peyton
Peyton at the time, it was actually a deadlock kind of a decision because Peyton Manning he was the more NFL ready. Didn't exactly have the arm, but he had the pinpoint accuracy. But Ryan Leaf had the insane upside. But the Colts went with the safer pick because I think they interviewed both of them. They were like, "Hey Peyton, what would you do with number 1 pick?" "Well, if you don't pick me, I'm going to kick your old butt and you're going to regret it." The pitch, the foul ball, and then he's like, "Hey Ryan Leaf, you had the number 1 pick. What are you going to do?" "I'm going to go party in Vegas."
Yeah,
and he shows up to a press conference with the Chargers all drunk and hungover.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Colt Brennan? Colt Brennan, great college quarterback for the University of Hawaii, but I believe Colt Brennan had some issues, and he's no longer with us anymore.
Oh, okay. The 1-1. Now here's a fly ball to left field, and that is going to be a foul ball.
He passed away in 2021.
Oh man.
At the age of 37. So,
Eesh.
Yeah.
He's a Gen Wire. I think.
Yeah, he unfortunately he was found in a hotel room, and the autopsy was he OD'd on fentanyl. So
Eesh. I know a high school friend who OD'd as well. Not good.
I know.
1-2. 2-2.
But and then that's also the sad part too, because a lot of these athletes, their identity is tied with their ability to play sports, and you see that a lot when
2-2. Low for ball, 3-2 for Brett Harris, and Bolton tops out at a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. That's why the Mariners picked him up.
And when a lot of these guys retire, whether it be baseball, football, they have a hard time transitioning because all they've been doing is playing one sport since they were 8 years old. And for some people, they can handle it just fine, and others they can't. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately. And a lot of the athletes, some of the athletes too, including basketball players, most of them didn't even have fathers.
Yeah, very true. Well, and a lot of them come out of, crappy situations where they were living in poverty, and all of a sudden, they get $12 million, and it's like, to the ATM. They've never even had a checking account before.
No, never had a checking account, never did taxes, never even talked to an accountant.
Correct. And so you have no idea who to trust, and that's why you see a lot of athletes go broke. Not so much these days, because there's a lot of agents have.
Now here is a possible double play ball to throw to first. No, not even close. They have agents that will actually maybe hook them up with actual advisors to actually.
They do. A lot of the big agencies have rookie boot camps where they have former players that they hire to tell them the sad stories about going broke, but they also teach them finance. They teach them how to operate.
Something that our school should be doing to our everyday kid.
100%.
The most useful class I ever took in high school, and it was one class, it was sales and marketing. That was literally the one useful class I took in the entire high school curriculum. Everything else, math I was okay with. History, U.S. history, fine. English was useless.
The one class was home economics, home ec, where they taught us how to cook. They taught us how to cook,
and they took it away from us back by the time my generation got to high school.
Yeah, we had home ec, and that's where I learned how to cook. They basically teach you basics, but it's self-sufficiency. And now
they're taking it away. Now kids are learning how to go on the internet in the wrong places. Correct.
That's the thing. It's like these kids aren't teaching practical things that help them prepare for adulthood.
How to change a tire.
Yeah.
And the and the only reason why I don't change tires because of my tight schedule. Otherwise, I totally make the time for it. And now here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Down he goes. That's gonna be 2 outs.
Back in the day, man, we had wood shop, auto shop.
I did wood shop. And one time,
we had pottery, photography,
video.
We had, dude, I took auto shop, and I learned how to change tires and oil and all that stuff. Yeah, that's
what
no longer
happened
there.
to everything, man.
Yeah, well, schools cut it. So
schools cut everything, and their cop out excuses. Oh, we run out of money. No, it's just you just didn't want to teach it.
no, because if you remember back in the Bush administration, the No Child Left Behind, where federal money went to most schools, but it came with a stipulation that it's all tied to core curriculum. So so the school districts weren't paying for music or things like that. So they cut them.
And you know what was really the final dagger for public education? It was the Common Core. That was the dagger.
Yeah.
The
'Cause
O2.
now,
and now here's a fly ball to left field, but that's going to go right to Luke Raley. Makes the catch, and that's going to retire the side. We go to bottom of the eighth. Let's see if the Mariners can put on some more. And I don't want to hear that whole, oh, we should save the runs for tomorrow. No, you got to keep putting it on.
Yeah, got to keep putting it on. Yeah.
Don't stop.
Don't let up. Nope.
No mercy. Cobra Kai.
I'm a Miyagi-Do type of guy. I'm sorry.
I'm actually an Eagle Fang. I think John Kreese would have kicked me out of class.
That's funny, Eagle Fang. That's the dumbest name for a dojo, Eagle Fang.
I mean, Johnny didn't have a choice. I mean, he lost Cobra Kai.
Well, but see, the thing is, Eagle Fang makes no sense at all because eagles don't have fangs. They
it
have
has something to do with
talons.
I heard like someone in the comments made a good point that the fangs had something. I don't know, but whatever it was wasn't a bad point. Now one time I tried to be a teacher.
He said, "Sweep the knee."
It sweep the leg. I tried to be a teacher before, and when I was doing a class observation, the way I saw them do multiplication was so depressing. They had to draw these stupid boxes. Like it was actually required rather than just doing it like the easy way that we did before. Yeah. Now they're teaching them how to do it more complicated. And the excuse is, well, it's to help them understand. Like, no, that's what a teacher is for, to help them understand, right? Yeah, but they're making them do it in a more overcomplicated way and a waste of time.
Right. Sure. But this is how I knew. I remember when my oldest son graduated from high school in 2016, and the next year when he was a freshman at the University of Washington, he struggled big time because he was like, you know what? Now he was telling me, I was like, well, what's the problem? He's like, I'm not prepared for this. And I was like, well, wait a second. You were on the president's list or the dean's list or whatever the equivalent is in high school. He was like, yeah, but do you know how easy high school was? Like, it's not hard to pull an A in high school. Like, you can do the bare minimum and pull an A. And it's like he was trying to tell me that there was just nothing that really prepared him for upper education. It's just on a different level. And I was like, well, I understand, but we're talking like there's a wide gap between when you finish high school to when you become
college.
Yeah,
here's bad. The 0-1 to Rojas, and that is outside for a ball.
And now I understand why high dropout rates among university students. So,
and with those loans,
yeah.
And now we're looking at the 1-1, and here is the pitch, and that is a foul ball. Man, like my biggest problem when I was in middle school, the only thing that prevented me from being a straight A student, I wouldn't shut up. I just kept talking and talking. And of course, my grade was weighted on behavior, quote. And now here's a fly ball to center field, and that's going to be caught. So yeah, like I would like do decent on the test, do all my homework. But the one thing I couldn't do was just keep my mouth shut. I would like argue with the teachers. I would argue with the kids. I would just couldn't stop talking because I just couldn't resist. So my behavior grade was like maybe a B- to a C. So that like drops my grade all the way to like a B+ when it should have been an A. My parents were like, they basically gave me that you're shooting yourself in the foot talk.
Right. But it's like you're like, that's the thing. It's like when you're a kid, you just have a different personality. But back in my day, tests didn't count for 90% of your grade. They only counted for 50% of your grade. And the work that you turned in was the other 50%. And I struggled at math. I was not good at math.
Swing and a miss, strike two. And Julio's playing like absolute ass.
And, back in junior high and high school, the only thing I did was want to play sports, and I did. And we didn't have any type of GPA requirement to play sports. You could literally be carrying a D and still play sports. But I used to pay my friend who was really good at math to do my math homework. So I always had something to turn in. So I always knew I had a baseline 50 because I turned everything in. And so I would guess on all my tests, you know what I mean? And sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. But for the most part, like I ended up finishing with like a C.
1-2
like
pitch.
average math.
And that is a ball. What's your take on college athletics getting paid? It's a touchy subject, but if they're getting a full ride scholarship, then they got a full ride scholarship.
Here's what I say, man. If you are an athlete that's getting NIL money, you should not be taking away scholarships for other athletes that are actually there for their degree.
You mean students?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Like if you're an athlete that is good enough to get NIL money, then you should be able to pay for your own education. Because if you're making
here's a fly ball to right field, that's not going to get anything done. And Julio has an absolute ass. And here's my reaction for Julio. I got to do it again. Moment of silence. I'm gonna keep doing that.
It's worth it though. Julio.
He deserves it.
He's lost. That dude. We were talking about Ty France being lost at the plate.
Julio's lost.
Julio very much is too.
And the fact that the Mariners are hanging in a division with Julio playing like ass is a miracle.
Right. Well, their pitching is that good though.
Their pitching is that good, and our bottom hitters have actually stepped up well.
Today especially. But my point is, if you are a player that's good enough to get NIL money and you're making 7 figures, then you should be able to pay for your college tuition, especially if you're only going to be there 1 year. If you're a basketball player, if you're only going to be there 1 year, don't take scholarships away from players that are actually going to be getting their degree, because that's why they're there. And that's my only beef with it. I don't like the transfer window. I'm good with the transfer window, the transfer portal, but don't take away scholarships from players that are actually trying to utilize that degree.
I actually heard that athletes, when they're scholarship players, I heard a rumor that they're restricted on how much money they're allowed to make outside of college. I don't know if that's true. So that means they couldn't like get a job bussing tables.
Correct. So they get a monthly on scholarship. They get like a monthly stipend, plus they get free room, free food, free board, whatever. But if they're on an athletic scholarship, during their season, when it comes to schoolwork and then trying to be an athlete, there's just no time to get a job to begin with, anyways. But that being said, the only time where they're able to work is during their summer break, because during the school year.
I mean, they could work over summer, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, for sure they do, and they do.
Oh yeah, then I mean, I would tell everyone, anyone who's in college, get a fucking job.
Yeah, during the school year. I
mean, you won't have time.
Yeah, well, they're also restricted too. So,
and I would then just athletes. Yeah. I would sure there are athletes out there that go on Craigslist and look for a job to get cash.
Well, but you also understand about boosters and those players that are on scholarship that they're getting paid by the boosters. And I know a couple boosters from the University of Washington that were shady at best.
Hey, I mean, college is a whole shady thing to begin with.
Not going to name names, but yes, it does happen.
The crazy thing is there are countries in the Middle East that are funding Harvard.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Sure. It's insane. And yet
China is a donor to Harvard.
And yet we're on the hook for and our taxpayer money are going towards this. Now they could get China and like North Korea to pitch in.
Well, no, the thing about it is it's the reason why college costs so much is because of the student loans. Of course, colleges are a business just like anything else. Colleges need customers and they charge the way they do. Because when the U.S.
they have more buying power, they can raise the price.
Yeah, that's when the U.S. government decided to give every kid in this country the means to go to college. The colleges said, "Okay, we're just going to if we're getting X amount of people, we're going to raise our prices," and they did.
And here's the 1-0 pitch, and that is another ball, 2-0. And this is Austin Voth, who's doing a mop-up job basically. And unfortunately, majority of our bullpen pretty much are mop-up people right now because of the injuries.
And and this was the thing, right? Instead of having when the game was 5-0,
That ground ball to tie France, and we got one down.
That's when you bring in Austin and Voth when they were at 5-0, and BRYAN WOO came out of the game. That's when you pitch Voth 2 innings.
The best part of this win, if they win, because you never know, Munoz, Stanek are saved for the time being.
Yeah.
And it hurts me to say that Munoz is actually one of our top pitchers, but he's top by default because of the injuries. Yeah. Munoz would have been like the third guy.
And I believe Spire was used tonight as well too. So
no, he was not. And good thing he wasn't. Good reason.
Yeah, those top three relievers are available tomorrow.
That's good.
That's very good. Yeah. But the thing about all three of those is they're able to pitch multiple days. It's not like you have to.
And here's a fly ball, and that is going to get in the corner or in the gap. I think that's going to be an extra base. Nope, it's going to be a single. So McCann gets a hit.
Yep.
And 5 pitches in so far, and we're getting close to the end. And I wonder if this game is worth a post-game show. I think it is because of BRYAN WOO's name. So we're gonna have a post-game show to talk about the whole BRYAN WOO situation, that he actually left with an injury, and it's still unclear what he's gotten. They still haven't talked about it yet.
I'm sure that Service will address it post-game, but that's not. I tend to agree with you, and I think it was precaution more than anything.
Had to be precaution, but that's the thing. Are they going to do precaution every single game now with BRYAN WOO because he can't? He has no longevity. The pitch, foul ball. That's what he struggles with. Is he does have a lack of longevity because of his health problems. Like the talent is there, no question. He could be as talented as anyone on this team, but the problem is he just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why you don't trade Emerson Hancock at all.
And now here's a line drive, and that is going to be a base hit. That's why you have Austin Voth in there for mop-up duties.
Yeah, but even in this situation, you still want to see Voth. You
still want to see him like muscle it out.
Get 3 quick outs, and now all of a sudden you have 2 on, and
you don't want to keep burning through your bullpen.
Right. So, I mean, they're going to finish with Voth. Even if he gives up a couple runs, they're going to finish with him. But you'd still like to see him not give up a run in this situation. You want to see the shutout.
You do.
That's fun.
Here is the pitch. That is a strike.
William Cook's great. I used to fall asleep. Yeah, me too, bud.
Math sucks. Yeah, it did. But math was essential.
I lived 2 houses down the street from my high school, and so I used to leave school.
Oh, 1. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
I used to leave school after the first period, and I went back home and fell asleep. And then
God. I wouldn't have had the balls to do that. If my parents saw me doing that. Woo!
Well, my parents were at work, so what are they going to do?
I had grandma at home. The pitch. Grandma and grandpa, so they would have noticed.
Oh, and you would have gotten snitched out too.
Yeah. My grandma would have been the first to snitch out.
Yeah, grandma's not going to keep that a secret from your parents. Grandma's
when I was a kid, I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm sick. You're sick? You're going to school. The pitch.
Damn, you had some strict parents.
It was good. It taught me endurance and conditioning.
Sure.
Because a lot of kids, they grew up completely abusing their sick. They have one little thing like, oh, I'm sick.
Yeah. Well, I went
to school with stuffy noses.
There was always days where you just weren't feeling it. You'd wake up and you're like, no, not today. And so you'd tell your parents.
The fly ball to center field, and that is going to be Julio makes the catch. Tagging at second, I think. Nope, no one's moving. No, the one time I couldn't go to school, I just couldn't move out of bed. That was literally it. Then my parents were like, okay, fine, you win.
It was like once every 2 months I would just stay home from school because I wasn't feeling it, right? You have a stomach ache or a headache or whatever. Parents call it in and it is what it is. There's just days where, I'm good. Don't want to go.
And now we got everyone up on their feet. 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. And don't forget, guys, we're going to do a quick post-game show after this.
Let's go, Austin.
Let's go, Austin, both. Let's get it done. The
I wonder
0-1 pitch, and that is a ball.
I wonder if his middle name is Powers.
Austin Powers, both. Austin Powers is like the greatest comedy movie of the 90s and the early 2000s. The pitch, and that is a foul ball, and it is game time. Austin Leavoth, and it is game time. So Mariners have been playing very well.
That's
BRYAN Woo was absolutely fantastic. Dylan Moore is arguably the MVP of this game.
Yeah.
And we're down to 1 strike. And can the Mariners complete the shutout according to Mr. Sticky? Let's make it happen. The 1-2 pitch on the way. And now here's a ground ball, and that's going to get right through for a base hit. And I think Oakland's going to score on that because everyone was just caught off guard. And now Oakland gets on the board to make it 8-1.
Yeah, and that's something that you wanted to avoid. But at the same time, the Mariners are still clinging to a 7-run lead. But that's with Voth in this situation, you wanted to see him get through this unscathed. But
it was a dribbling ground ball, and like Julio was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" So he was like caught off guard, or he just wasn't paying attention. He thought the game was over.
Right.
And yep, Mr. Sticky, it's on you, buddy. Here's Brett Harris batting 9th. And that is a ball. I jinxed it because I was giving that hyping of like, yep, this was a great game. It's 2 strikes. So it's kind of on me too.
Well, I don't know, man. Sticky always seems to find himself in sticky situations. So
the pitch, the swing and a miss, strike 1. Oh, and Mr. Sticky, if you want to make it up, donate to the YouTube super chats or join my membership for just $2 or $5.
Yeah, Sticky, get off your wallet, bro.
Yes, Sticky. Look at William Cook. He got off of his wallet to the max, the 1-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2, and I'm not going to say it. It's strike 2.
Hey, by the way, have you been paying attention to William Cook in the chat room? The dude used to go duck hunting before school. He would keep his shotgun in his locker.
That sounds
crazy.
Very Generation X growing up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or baby boomer. I don't know. I think
no, that's like because even in the 90s, with even in the 80s and 90s, having a gun in your locker, that's still kind of serious. Like today, you'd be thrown in jail, but
yeah, 2-2. Even if it's just pure possession for self-defense, you're still thrown in jail.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we're looking at a 2-2 count. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but if I have kids, I'm homeschooling. I want to homeschool them or at least send them to a private school.
Yeah.
Definitely
Class
no public.
2-2.
Oh, and that's inside. And I think that got him. And now the bases are loaded.
You were class of 81. I was born in 81. So he was graduating when I was being born.
My father was class of 85 or 86.
Back in the days of REO.
I don't even think that even hit him. What a flop job. I don't think he even hit him. Whatever.
He said whatever.
And by the way, Sebi Savala is now the catcher. He's taking over for Cal Raleigh to get some reps.
Yeah. Well,
my prediction.
Well, I mean, the Mariners are up by 8 runs, 7 runs. This is an opportunity to empty your bench.
The schools are now, you kind of have to say it, also getting in trouble for duck hunting. I don't know. Schools now these days are just odd. Did you know that Bellevue School District closed like 6 schools? I
did not know that, but with the I guess you can say the national narrative that is happening in the schools, it's very troublesome to the point where I wouldn't keep my kids in Seattle public schools.
They don't even do the Pledge of Allegiance in Bellevue School District. They just skip it.
Yeah, I heard.
I remember when I was also observing, and we're looking at a 0-1 pitch from Abraham Toro, and that's low for a ball. I remember when I was...
Yeah, I don't think that hit him either.
What was I doing? Oh, I was observing. They said stand for the pledge at this other public school. I was the only one in the entire room that did it.
Yeah,
That was
I
scary.
would have.
1-1.
Too.
Swing and a miss, strike 2.
You know, the way that they handle bully situations is ridiculous. I had to threaten the Granite Falls School District for they tried to suspend my son, my middle son, for defending himself from a bully. They were trying to give him a suspension. I said, "You're not suspending the guy who's defending himself
The
from a
1-2.
bully."
And here's a ground ball right to Josh Rojas, a throw to first, and it's in time. And the ball game is over. The Mariners will take the first game of this 3-game series against Oakland, 8-1 off of impressive pitching, but cut short pitching of BRYAN WOO, and also 5 RBI effort by Dylan Moore.
Yeah. Very good win tonight. As a matter of fact, the thing that I liked about it the most, and you said already brought up Dylan Moore, 5 RBIs, 3 for 4 tonight, but it was also Ty France who was hitting in front of him. Tonight he was 2 for 4, 2 RBIs, and Luke Raley checked in with a double. He drove in one as well too. So you're looking at 6, 7, 8 in the order, who were basically what 6 for 10. And then, of course, Luis Urias down in the eye hold was 1 for 4 tonight as well too. Cal Raleigh 1 for 3. Haniger was 1 for 4, and of course, Josh Rojas was 2 for 5. So you have production from top to bottom, and
with the exception of Julio and Garver,
and that's fine. I mean, to me, that's fine because it's more than just one guy in the lineup who hit the dinger. And that was the difference in the game. It wasn't that type of game. And, I said it a little bit earlier in this game. The thing that I liked about this game was that the Mariners had broke it open already before they got Dylan Moore hit his home run. So that's what you want to see, taking advantage of not just the A's, of them being the A's, but taking advantage of an inning where you get the first 2 men on base with a couple of walks. And it was good to see Raley check in. It was good to see France check in. And of course, this is the Dylan Moore game. And that in itself is huge for this team, because as we've seen this year, the offense really is live or die by the long ball. Tonight that wasn't the case, and that, to me, that was the win inside the win.
It was definitely, and it was really refreshing to see that only 1 home run was needed to score 8 total runs, which was impressive. Like these are the kind of games that we want. Like we've been saying it, like Ty France, he can hit 0 home runs, but if he can make it up with literally everything else, doubles, singles, and corner kind of hits, we're okay with that. We don't need 20 home runs from Ty France. We just need him to be productive.
Correct. And because we already have guys in the lineup that are already going to be the main power guys. Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, Mitch Haniger, and when Polanco and Garver get going, those guys as well too. So we don't need 25 home runs from Ty France. Like we'll make do with 15 as long as he's got like 80 RBIs and he's batting 270 with a 330 OBP and he's slugging for whatever it is. So yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think tonight we saw the good Ty France. So
we saw the good Ty France, and we saw the Dylan Moore that we know and love, where his worst, when we get the worst case scenario, usually he at least moves a runner once in a while, but then this is the game where we're like, yep, this is the Dylan Moore when he's at its best. And we do get those occasionally, and he does it when it's absolutely needed. And it was needed because, man, Mariners got embarrassed in Minnesota badly.
And I think that when we came into the 2024 season, Dylan Moore was going to be one of those guys that we were keeping an eye on, because, last year was, he started the season on the DL, never was fully 100% last year. And that showed when he came back. And the great news was that he came into the 2024 season, ready to go. And he has not disappointed. And I think that, considering the injuries that we've had, JP Crawford, Dom Canzone, and some of these other guys, this was, he was going to be one of those guys who are going to have to come off the bench and step up. And he's done more. He's done more than just that. Tonight was very impressive.
It really was an impressive win. And I think we talked pretty much enough about this Mariners offense for today, but the biggest subject of this was Bryan Woo was actually pulled in the 5th inning. And initially I thought this was like classic Scott Service being Scott Service, where he's obsessive about his pitch count management. But however, it looked like he actually was kind of in a little bit of pain. I heard that Cal Raleigh pointed it out. That's what Dave Sims said and Mike Blowers. So they may have pulled him out for precautionary reasons. And not only was Pete Woodworth involved, but the trainer was involved. And when you have two of those guys there talking to Bryan Woo, that's when you do get concerned. And the funniest part of the whole thing, not that I'm saying it's funny that he got injured, but the funniest part of the thing when Bryan Woo got pulled out was when Scott Service was met with a massive amount of boos, which is expected because the fans don't really know exactly what's going on. Not everyone's going on social media to check what's going on exactly. They're just taking selfies and looking at other things on their phones. But it was understandable that he got booed. And personally now, until we get the full report on what really happened, because we do not know yet, I do think it was kind of a slight overreaction that they pulled him out. But because he just got back from an injury, they're just not going to take any more risks because Bryan Woo does have a very high injury potential.
Yeah. And you know, for me, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but I was okay with him coming out, even if it was for a precaution, because again, of everything you just highlighted and the fact that Bryan Woo started the season on the DL, and you're not going to take any chances. And if it's a situation of, you know, he tweaks something, okay, fine. Let's not put him in a situation where that's going to get aggravated even more. I was okay with that. The one thing I wasn't okay with was the use of the bullpen tonight, because I didn't think that you know, I thought both should have been the guy first out of the bullpen tonight, just because you're at that point, you already have a 5-0 lead, and the A's, you know, aren't gonna be a threat from the rest of the way. So you might as well get your long guy in at that point for a couple innings, and then if you want to go with Snead or Thornton, okay, fine, towards the later end of the game. But I just didn't think it. I wasn't a big fan of seeing Thornton first out of the bullpen tonight. So I mean, if that's my gripe, then you know today was a good day.
Yeah, it was a great day, and actually, I was actually okay with Thornton coming out because I don't really. That was like the time to put him in when it's pretty much mop up time. But
yeah.
I mean, it's your opinion. I don't put it behind you at all. Like
you're not a Thornton guy, are you?
I'm not a Thornton guy either. I never was.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. You're not a big fan of Thornton.
But I was okay using him in this situation. Sure. But I mean, I think even whether you put Volt in the 9th or Thornton in the 9th, maybe it would have been the same result anyway. And they're both those kind of guys for that kind of situation. Well, but it really does.
Well, I was going to say, because they used Bolton as well tonight and you know, if you're going both for the rest of the 5th and the 6th, and then you know Bolton can go the 7th and the 8th, and then you're not using multiple relievers tonight. You know what I mean? I guess that's really what it comes down to, is bullpen usage, because you could have gotten multiple innings from two guys, and then you didn't have to use. You didn't have to use Thornton. You didn't have to use Snead. You could have saved an arm for the rest of the series, and just strictly use your long guys. But now Thornton may or may not be available tomorrow if you need him, and then of course Snead, you may or may not have him tomorrow either. But that being said, overall, my concern overall is going to find it. We're gonna find out very quickly what happened with Bryan Woo, and you know, the one thing I will say is that they can't afford this to be serious.
No, they can't, because Bryan Woo, with the way he pitched, the strikeout numbers weren't pretty, but he was able to get the quick outs, and sometimes always it's actually more efficient to get the quick outs than the strikeouts, and that's what we're also hoping from the likes of Emerson Hancock. But we cannot, like you said, we cannot afford an injury out of Bryan Woo, because he is one of our high upside guys. He right now, as of now, has more upside than Emerson Hancock. But to lose him would be crushing, because Mariners are already suffering the injuries of Matt Brash is pretty much is gone for the season. Santos, I'm pretty much going to bank he's gone for the season, because if they keep pushing it back and moving the goalpost, I'm pretty sure he's gone. And now it's creeping into our starting rotation, and it's my concern is like, what really is the best way to manage your bullpen, especially because there's a fine line of the way they're pitching really puts the wear and tear. How do you manage them? When to pull them out?
Yeah,
it's like it's a crapshoot. I mean, there's no perfect solution. The only reason I would criticize Scott's service is based on situational, not necessarily like you're pulling out just because, but he's pulling them out when he doesn't have to, and sometimes he doesn't pull them out when he does have to. So who knows? But all we can do is just wait and see. And then it did say on the report that he was removed for precautionary reasons.
Yep.
But we're just hoping it's not like any need of a Tommy John or anything like that, because that'd be crushing blow.
By the way, the 5 RBIs for Dylan Moore is a career high for him, a single game career high for him. So congratulations, Demo.
I am glad to be part of that history for Dylan Moore, because Dylan Moore took me forever to get used to him. Like 2019, I was like, man, this guy can't field or do anything. And then by 2020, he was really showing his value. 2021, that grand slam against Houston, and then 22, he was one of the driving forces to bring the team to the playoffs. And his absence from last season actually did play a part, really played a huge part on why the Mariners missed the playoffs. Had we had a healthy Dylan Moore, who knows what could have happened.
Well, if we actually had a healthy Dylan Moore, and if Ty France didn't have the season he had last year, we probably would have been in the playoffs last year. Multiple things went wrong last year, but we're seeing the value now, and we're seeing the value now in Dylan Moore, and now we're seeing the value in why the Mariners gave him a 3-year extension, just because he's the type, he's basically, what Mark McLemore was for us back in the early 2000s, where you can play multiple positions. He's a plug and play guy, and he gets on base. And, as we saw tonight, he checked in with a RBI double, also checked in with a home run. And then of course he had his check swing RBI single late in the ball game as well too. So, I mean, that's the type of value Dylan Moore brings. This was the best case scenario for the Mariners tonight, especially coming off a Minnesota series where they were frankly embarrassed by the Twins. And so it was nice to see them rebound in a big way. Now the question moving forward now is, what kind of consistency are we going to see from this offense for the next 2 games? Tonight was great. We saw that. We saw that in the Twin series where, they put up a 10 spot in a game, and then the very next day they came out and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do a damn thing. And so the key moving forward is going to be consistency, and whether or not this offense can indeed do what they did tonight, which is take advantage of a pitcher. When a pitcher makes mistakes, can you continue that, move the chain down and take advantage, and not have to rely on a home run to win you a ball game. And, we'll see.
We'll definitely have to see, and let's take a look and see who is going to be the starters for tomorrow. And the only reason why we're kind of still on this show is we're just waiting to see what BRYAN WOO's update is, because we definitely want to know, and we just hope that he is okay. And let's take a look at the starters for tomorrow as soon as I get the schedule. Here it is for tomorrow, and I did add Miller, that pitcher. Bryce Miller.
It's Miller versus Joey Estes.
And then on Sunday is going to be Castillo against Wood. Let's take a look at both these guys' numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got
Estes. Estes, I think, has only had 2 starts. Actually, no.
Miller's 3-2. He's given up a lot of home runs, so that's the thing I could be nervous, and that's the potential that could be.
I think this is Estes' first start of the
I think it is.
Season. And, the thing about Estes, last year, it looked like he had 2 starts last year. In 1 start against the Mariners, as a matter of fact, he went 4 2/3 and gave up 6 runs on 6 hits, 3 home runs. against the Mariners, and then in the next start against the Twins, he went 5 1/3 and gave up 3 runs on 6 hits. So the Mariners are going to be familiar with Estes, having seen him last year. He's a guy who throws his his 4-seam fastball again 47% of the time. So you're going to be in a situation where you're going to see fastballs 50% of the time, change up, and a slider. So that's the thing. It's if they can put him in a position where he has to throw fastballs, I probably would assume that we're going to see another result like tonight.
We'll see, but I mean, the thing I'm nervous about is Bryce Miller does give up home runs, so that's something to certainly pay attention to. And I'm actually going to take a look and see where does he rank on giving up home runs.
Bryce. Bryce, his last start, I believe it was against the. I think it was against the Braves, his last start. And, he went 7, 1 run on 2 hits. So this year he's only given up, so far, it looks like he's given up
7 home runs so far this season.
7 home runs. So yeah, you're right. He does.
His last start was against Houston and he won, but he gave up 4 runs in those 2 home runs. That was the game. That was that Sunday game where it was just super weird. That one's when they won on the skin of their teeth.
Right. So you're right. He does have a tendency to give up the long ball. And, the one thing that you probably like is the fact that they're solo shots.
Yeah, that was the only good thing about it. And Scott Service is talking. So as soon as Scott Service is done talking, then we'll call it a day, call it a night. But we're just trying to see what Bryan Woo is all about. Now, if it wasn't for the Bryan Woo situation, we would have been done.
That's what we've been doing. Get off the rails a little bit in Minnesota, but nice to see the guys respond tonight. So I'll take any questions.
Now, where's the tightness at with Bryan, and how do you proceed? Is he going to make his?
He'll make his next start. He'll be fine.
Oh, he'll make his next start.
Yeah.
So it was just a pure precaution thing.
Yep.
So it was okay. Doctors cleared him. It looks like so.
Yeah. Good. That's good. That's good news. And you're in that situation right now where the last thing you need is to lose Woo so soon. So that's very good news. He'll make his next start, and hopefully. As much as I love Bryan Woo, he does have great talent, but just that lack of longevity is just that only concern. So it leads me to think like maybe in the future, if he pitches lights out, his trade value might actually be a little bit more attractive, but because of that injury, that's what's going to hold it back. So hopefully in the meantime, Bryan Woo just stays healthy, but personally, I just can't see it because he already has injury history. Yeah. He already needed the precaution, and he nearly actually got taken out for the rest of the season last season. Yeah, what's funny is I'm not a big Bryan Woo fan. I prefer Bryce Miller. But that being said, the thing that I don't like about him is that the injury issues definitely are concerning. But the thing is that he has a tendency to get lit up. He has a tendency to have the Luis Castillo inning. And put the Mariners in a position where they're going to have to, they have to battle back, and that's not what you want out of your.
And there's not really a balance of Bryan Woo. You either get the lights out, shut out Bryan Woo, or you get the one where he just absolutely gets blown up. And that's like you said, Castillo's the same thing. Like there's games where he's like, man, he really is a number 1, and then there's the other game where he's like, let's put him into a number 3.
Yeah, and that's it's good that you have George Kirby and you have
Logan Gilbert,
and I know Logan got lit up a couple days, 2 days ago, but that's the exception. It's never the rule. Logan is the guy in our rotation who's probably,
it was just a bad day.
Yeah, he got a bad day, but that's the thing. It's like you can afford to have the good and the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde from Bryan Woo, as long as you get lights out performances from the rest of your rotation. So absolutely.
Well, I'm going to tweet this out saying Scott Service says Bryan Woo is good to go next game. Whew.
How did the Rangers lose to the Rockies? Well, that's a good question.
I'll take it.
I do believe how they lost was that the Rockies scored more runs than the Rangers. That's my first initial reaction to that. And the Rangers, got blown up. So. Let's find out. Yeah, Colorado won 4-2, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, we'll definitely take it, and
Yeah,
let's take a look at the
definitely.
standings before we take off.
Yeah.
Let's find out the standings in the American League West. Because of that Mariners victory, Mariners are now at 21-18, while Texas Rangers is at 22-18, and Oakland is now falling. They lost their second game in a row.
Yeah.
So hopefully by season's end, I know it's too far to say, Texas and Rangers may have a head-to-head thing, but yeah, too early to say.
Yeah. Well,
But-
the Mariners are now one game out, and that's fine. Really, it doesn't. First place doesn't really matter right now. What really matters is getting everything right, so you can put yourself in a position where you actually can, in July, August, and September,
Make those deep, make that run, make that big.
Yeah, exactly.
Gap. Right
And
now,
then you
it's
can worry
just
about
don't get into it. Just don't fall into a hole
Correct.
too early. And that's what
Correct.
the Mariners. That was our concern at the start. Where yes, it was quote early, but you also didn't want to start with a hole. And the Mariners,
Yeah,
they
'cause
barely escaped that.
Yeah, in 2021, 2022, and 2023, they buried themselves in an early hole where they had to spend the next 2 months digging themselves out of it before they got hot and then got on a roll. And of course, it was because of that early hole that they were never able to overcome it. Granted, yes, they had 290-win seasons, but at the end of the day, I mean, what did they win? Did they win the division? No. So it is what it is. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. To be at 21-18 at this start of the year, it's a good position to be in because you can still keep pace with Texas. But yeah, you want to make sure you get everything right because coming up at the end of this month is when traditionally it's where the Mariners start catching fire. So you want to be in a good position when that happens. You want to be over 500 when that happens.
Definitely, and I think this is going to do it. I think we got everything we needed. Bryan Woo, breaking news, is going to start the next game, so we are good to go. And thank you very much for being on the show. I won't be here for the rest of the series because hashtag don't quit your day job. My next projected day I'm looking at is Friday the 17th is what I'm looking at. So that is that. So we'll see and find out. And due to don't quit your day job situations, just want to give you a heads up that Fridays may be my only day of the week unless I get lucky, but we'll see. I mean, don't quit your day job is a thing. It's very important. Would love to do more games, but sometimes we all got to do what we got to do to even be able to afford to do this.
Absolutely. And, let's just hope that the Mariners are able to sweep the A's and get right and put themselves in an advantageous position. So hope this weekend goes well and go Mariners.
Let's sweep the A's to make up for the Twins series. Because if the
Absolutely.
Mariners sweep the A's, I will forget about the Twins series for sure. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you very much. And just do that one last thing. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification. Do the same thing for Steve. I mean, if you're on his Twitter, you can access his link to his channel. I won't be nagging him to change his profile picture, though. So there's that.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna know. There's no changing profile pictures. Just go to you can find me on Twitter at SwingingPod, and let's talk some baseball because isn't that what it's for?
Yeah, it is.
There you go.
Well, everyone, have a fantastic night. Go Mariners, and good job, Bryan Woo and Dylan Moore, and Ty France.
Go Mariners. Go.